Hey, 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 everybody. How's everyone's day going? Uh, it was it was a lot here. I'm exhausted, I'm tired. I think we ended up with like 17 people. Hey Joyce. Hey Sean's gaming channel name. Yeah, it's been an interesting fun day. It was busy, it was hectic, it was fun, it was crazy. All cleaned up now. Everyone kind of took their, after dinner naps. And it's school vacation week here, and my Miss Emma has graciously come down after Easter dinner nap with 100 and 1.5 fever and a sore throat. So you know, it's just one more thing to add to the plate. So there's that. Um, just want to let everyone know I threw out some invites to some people, as well. I wonder if I can, just to see if people wanted to pop in, say hi. I really didn't have anything planned. This week was, you know, crazy with gearing up for, Easter, all the streaming during the week. I knew I wasn't sure whether I was going to do one or not do one. And we're here. Yeah, Joyce, I feel like it's always something with kids. You know what I mean. And it's school vacation week, so why not? So, I'll probably have to head out to the doctor's tomorrow or, see how kind of things go. I don't know if that lighting's any better, but we'll see. Um, so yeah, I mean, again, we had what did we have here? I made a ham with mashed potatoes. I make these like roasted green beans in the oven. So they're like fresh green beans with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of butter, um, salt, pepper, garlic, pecorino romano cheese, little sprinkle of breadcrumbs, and you bake them all in the oven. I made a fresh homemade soup. So I'm hoping that will help Miss Emma tonight and tomorrow. See how that goes. She really doesn't want to eat, which is fine. Um, Cass, Cass, you should come on, even if it's just your voice. You can come in and say hi. Um, yeah, so let me see if I can do this where I just drop the link. We've been doing that a lot this week. Let's see here. Um, copy, paste. Hey, Leah. They're not like mom and grandma who's half native and tan rather than burn. Girl, I have two skin colors. I have Casper the Friendly Ghost, and then I have fucking what's that? Sebastian from Ariel. I'm either white or I'm red. There is absolutely zero in between. So there's that. Oh yeah, see, yeah, I love green bean casserole. My mother-in-law makes the best green bean casserole. Um, but she didn't want to step on my toes when I told her I was making regular green beans. She could have made both. I would have eaten them all, but they're delicious. I was kind of pissed because I wanted to make squash. I love squash. Um, it's delicious. It You like it? It's so comfy and cute and flowy and just light and relaxing. You know what I mean? Candy raid nerds. Yeah, and my grandmother wanted to contribute, so she bought the squash when I told her not to on, like, Wednesday. I'm like, "This is not gonna be any good by the time I need to cook it on Wednesday." And, of course, I took it out to go roast it in the oven, and it was all squishy and just gross, so I was kind of upset, but we have plenty of food. We had some leftovers. Some people took some soup home, so we had nice dinner rolls, and then my cousin bought, like, this dessert tray from BJ's, so it had, like, chocolate chip cookies, chocolate chunk cookies, white chocolate cookies, some brownies, and then we had, like, cheesecake. I am, like, all food out. I'm not hungry. That is my youngest, whose dad is Irish, and my granddaughter, they do not get my native genes fro well, that's what I mean. My grandmother is Italian, and her mother was straight off the boat, you know what I mean? Like, my mom, um, dude, she tans and she looks like she's the complete opposite race. Like like, people used to think that I was adopted. My mom has black hair, um, dark skin, and I was born a towhead. You couldn't even see my hair until I was, like, 2 or 3. I looked like I was bald. And people used to ask her if she was, like, babysitting me or I was adopted. I definitely got my dad's, Irish genes for sure. Um, and then now with, my ancestry DNA that I graciously just handed over my DNA for, you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. I'm mostly French, French Canadian. Yeah. Well, there's that. That explains the vampire skin and the sparkles. Uh, um, Leftovers are my favorite part. I can eat them cold, warm, next morning for breakfast. It's delicious. Um, you've been having issues for days now with your phone, so bear with me. Oh, yeah, you were having issues with your internet. How are your gaming children? Are they yelling yet? Like, what's going on there? Uh, yeah, Leah, Cass. I wish I probably didn't have to cook tomorrow, but my kids have been in and out of that fridge since we cleaned up dinner at like 3 o'clock. So I don't even know how many leftovers are in there. Um, oh, your phones. Do you think it has to do with the internet or is it your carrier? I see there's 22 peeps in here. I'm gonna pin oh gosh. Um, I keep hitting buttons here. Let's see. Oh, here it is. We're just gonna pin it. Um, they're surviving, yeah. Mine, if the phones stopped working, I don't think any of my kids would really have an issue. I may have an issue because that's how I communicate with everybody. And if I talk, you can probably hear my son. He's freaking gaming upstairs right now, screaming at the TV, at his computer. So there's that. But you know, if the internet went out, I think there would be a bigger problem in this house than the phones. Um, Coach, aside from my youngest daughter who's half Puerto Rican, I'm the darkest of them all. Yeah, I'm I think it might be a cross between either my son or myself on who's the whitest in the house. My Erin, of course, she has brown eyes, but she definitely tans better than me. And even my little one, Miss Emma, she tans very well. It's the internet and the phones, and never had this issue. But yes, the carriers had plenty of phone calls. Oh, Cass, I am sure you let them have it on the phone. You're kind of like me. I have a great my kids call it my customer service voice. I'll be, like, screaming at them, and all of a sudden, like, either drive-through or telephone call, I'll be like, "What are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Hi, I'm Gina. How can I help you today?" Or, "Hi, thanks, I'd like, medium iced coffee," throw in that customer service voice. But once I get to that point where they're not even helping you, that frustrates the crap out of me because I have worked for plenty of places doing customer service, and 99% of the time, you can resolve the issue. It's A, whether you want to, or 2, if the company gives you that go ahead to be able to do it. You know what I mean? Because 'Cause I've worked for some people and they're like, "Well, you gotta follow the steps and, start here and then go here and then here and then here." And I'm like, "No, just let me resolve it. I can fix it from here." You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Cass doesn't go well without your phone. 4 kids and a business. Yeah. because you're losing money and appointments, and that's just, I don't know, it's so frustrating. Um, yeah, so, there was that. I'm hoping this week is kinda easy. The weather was absolutely stunning. I think today was the first weekend in 8 weeks that it has not rained on a Friday or a Sunday. I mean, a Saturday or a Sunday, which was amazing. Yesterday was almost 80 degrees, or I think it hit 82 degrees, which is a little too warm for me. I like a little bit cooler. I mean, I'll deal with it because it's been so crappy, but I'm a 60s girl. Give me those 60s, low 70s, maybe, you know what I mean? I love my hoodies. I love my leggings. I like the cool weather. Hang up till you get someone who speaks English. I so I try sometimes to do that, but then I feel bad because with working at AT&T and T and Comcast in my past, um, and I worked in a service center, so you would, like, walk in and come see me, and I would try to resolve your problems there or, you know, sell your shit and stuff like that. But every so often during, like, the holidays or, like, big pay-per-view fights and stuff like that, they would ask for help in the call centers. So I would go and help. It was great because you're not face to face and, oops, accidentally, you want to start yelling at me when I'm trying to help you. My phone just accidentally died. You know what I mean? But a lot of the people I work with had accents and stuff like that. Um, so, there's there's that. Oh, it's raining there now? I don't know if I think I looked this up. I'm hoping to get my garden going this week because I don't see any, like, freezing mornings coming up. Low 40s, not too bad, but we're definitely creeping up. We got 60s and 70s for all our daytime highs for the next 10 days, which I'm here for. It's great. Although the tree pollen is going to absolutely destroy my Emma. My Emma has the worst seasonal allergies that I have ever met in my entire life. Yeah, it's definitely hit or miss. You definitely have to find someone who's willing to help you, and I definitely can tell when I get those people on the phone. You can just tell who is in it that day for it and who's not, and I definitely understand that because there were times I went in and I was pissed off at the kids, and I was like, "Fuck this day," you know what I mean? Like, I don't even wanna help myself, never mind help you, and then if you get on the phone and right out the gate, you're screaming, like, uh, I just don't have patience for that, you know what I mean? Unless, like, if you're, like, starting and you're like, "You know what? Listen, I'm gonna explain this to you. I apologize in advance if I get a little angry, if I start yelling. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the situation. I'm mad at your stupid company. Fine, I'll let you rant and I'll see what I can do to help you. But if you start off right off the bat with, you, and it's like, dude, I didn't do anything to you. It's not my fault, you know? But it is what it is. Um, so Leah, how was your day? Joyce, I know you celebrated last weekend. I did post the link, Joyce, if you want to hop in and say hi. Like I said, I threw it out there to a couple of people. Um, I know some people are different time zones, so they're still, gathering and celebrating with their friends and family and stuff like that. Here I have to wait till around Mother's Day weekend. Yes, we all have horrible seasonal allergies. Yeah, it's so bad. I got to get her back into the habit of using oh, the saline in the morning, afternoon, and evening, just to get ahead of the curve. I hate giving her, the Zyrtec or anything like that, but we'll definitely start up I have a batch of honey that I got to try to help her with those allergies a little bit. Teaspoon in the morning, teaspoon in the evening, and then in June he'll have another batch from his hives and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly, Cass. It's, like I said, if I start off and I'm really aggravated, like if my issue hasn't resolved, oh, look who we have here. Hold on. Let me, let me, let me group discussion. Is it this one? Show on stage. Add to stage. Hey, Joyce.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, there she is. How was your day? Oh, I like your sweatshirt.
Thank you. It's actually.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh,
So it's got Christ on
I
it with
can.
the
I
American
really like that
Eagle,
sweater.
and it says, "In God we trust." One nation under God. Excuse me. So yeah, and then the back, same thing. So yeah.
I would totally. Where did you order that off of one of those like TikTok, Facebook shops?
Off of a Facebook shop. About now, I want to say. So I moved here to South Carolina in 2021, and I got it right before I moved from Oregon. So yeah,
It's
it
really
showed
nice.
up,
I
and I
like the
was
colors.
like, I need that. So
And if you've had it that long and the colors are still that bright, that's a great sweatshirt.
yeah, and it's not sweatshirt material either, so it's like more kind of like silky
Oh,
feeling
yep, yep,
on
yep.
it. And so it's more lightweight too. Although like because of it being more polyester, it gets hotter. Um,
Yeah,
but it also is a great conversation starter. Like there's been a lot of times where I've been able to, just because of wearing the shirt, that I've had people at gas stations and stuff start talking about it and stuff, and it's been able to spark conversations to be able to witness and share my faith and things like that too. So it's awesome. I love it.
nice.
So
Nice.
yeah.
So how did you I know you talked about this on your show the other night, how you celebrated last weekend.
Mhm.
But how
All
do you
actually.
guys celebrate? Yeah, how do you guys celebrate Easter on the biblical time?
So Passover, it's you do the communion stuff, and recreate the Last Supper because that's the meal that he had. And you just spend it in a lot of prayer and worship, because of it being, the day that true day that he passed away biblically. And I actually posted an article about it and gave all the scriptures and stuff, and that talk about it too, earlier today, on my Coach Joyce X. But and then it's actually a week long ceremony because the biblical holy days, you have Passover, and then so it like I've been involved in stuff since Friday sundown last week. So from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown is the true biblical Sabbath day, and day of rest. And so we had that, and then followed by that, it went immediately into Passover from sundown to sundown, because God's timeline, the biblical timeline and calendar, is a lunar calendar, and so it's measured from sundown to sundown. Um, Sunset to sunset. And so then right after Passover goes into the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is a week long. And so Wednesday, the 17th, was the actual day that he rose from the dead, after being crucified. And so during the week of unleavened bread, you can't have you can't eat anything with leaven in it at all. You aren't even supposed to have anything with leaven in it in your house. So you're supposed to remove all bread, all cakes, things like that that have anything that leavens and makes it rise. And so you refrain away from that for and abstain from that. And then today is the feast of first fruits, the day of first fruits, and biblically that was when they would bring their offerings for the first harvests that were happening, to give to God their 10%. So that's what we do. So I've been without bread and stuff until today. And so cleansing and detoxing, which is also good because there's a lot of stuff that's not very good for us, and loading up a lot on bread products. I'm very big on Italian food, so I eat a lot of pastas and stuff. So lots of bread, and so
I grew up in an Italian Irish household. We we live on carbs here.
yeah, and
Yeah.
my stepdad, who's basically the only dad I've known, he's Italian too. So yeah, and then we also have a bunch of Irish too in our side, which is why my father was almost full blooded Cherokee Indian, and so that's why I get the darker tone. But my mom, my mom's side of the family, it's mostly um, Irish and Scottish. So my younger son, who I was talking about in chat, having the sunburn, his dad is also pretty much full blooded Irish. So he got all the Irish genes and none of the native genes, which is funny because most of my other kids, they did get the native genes, so they will tan, but
Yeah.
he just had no prayer, so the poor guy's like looks like a lobster. So
That's my son, and it's so crazy. My girls tan, like tan, and my son, even though he's outside, he'll burn and then he'll just go back to glowing. I'm like, "You
yeah.
poor child, I'm so sorry." But Cass, my exactly, your house would be screwed. If I told my kids I was removing all the carbs in this house for a few days, I would probably be crucified. I
Yeah.
could try. It may be something that I would just have to do on my own if I was able to, or tried to do it. It would probably just be myself. Um, so I don't
Sometimes
know, but
sometimes it starts with just you, and then they see the
yeah.
changes and stuff in you, because that's like another big thing too, is like that I've tried to explain to people, because a lot of people will say that we don't have to follow the eating laws and things like that anymore, and that comes from a very badly misquoted and taken out of context set of scriptures from Paul's writings, and it's talking about a dream that Peter had, that God is putting all these unclean animals down in front of him and telling him, kill and eat. And Peter's like telling him, not so, Lord, nothing unclean. I've never touched anything unclean. But what they don't tell you is that it had absolutely nothing to do with food. It was because of the way they were treating the Gentiles at the time, who were now also covered under Christ's blood, and they were still trying to keep them out and push them out. And Christ had told them to go to a specific person and be able to witness to them, and they were trying to not obey. So it had absolutely nothing to do with it. And so like I try to tell people all the time that, like, God gave us everything that we need to be healthy. And when you actually look at the things that he tells us not to eat that are listed in like Leviticus,
Mhm.
and then you actually go and look up like the health consequences of those actual things, you could see how the actual legitimate reasons why God said not to eat those things, you know. pork is horribly bad. There it's and being somebody who's been raised with on the farms and stuff like that, they're very unclean. They don't sweat. They eat anything that they can get on. I mean, they will eat everything, an entire human if you give it to them, except for the skull. So and so they take in all these toxins and they don't have a way to sweat it out like cows do and other forms of meat. Um, and so that's how come it's got such strict eating, like cooking laws, to keep you from getting sick, because you have to be able to cook it right to not get sick off of it. But it's the same for like everything. Like there's a lot of stuff that when we actually look at the science behind it, it's not good for us, but God, so it actually backs up what God said. But we've been conditioned to just go ahead and eat all of this stuff, and really, if we want to be healthy, following a biblical diet's the best way to go for anybody. And I know
But
you can
Shelby,
kind
it's
of relate because you are a pretty big health nut with all the natural diet and stuff too. So
yeah. We don't eat pork too often. It's very few and far between. I do, well, like when I make my grandfather's sauce, we do brown the pork ribs. Um, but that's usually about it. My kids are not, thankfully, they're not a huge pork fan. They just don't, they're not a fan of it.
yeah,
Um,
and that's how my
Shelby,
kids have
it's your
been. So,
birthday.
oh, happy
Happy
birthday!
birthday, Shelby.
Yeah, happy
Yeah,
birthday to
Paul,
you.
do me a favor. On the table, can you grab my vape, please?
But
Um,
even though like I don't celebrate Easter, because of my past and just God laying it on me and showing me the scriptures. And like I said yesterday, everybody has to come to those realizations on their own and on their own time. But I still did go to, because a lot of my family does still hasn't come to that spot, so they still celebrate Easter. So I did go spend some time with my extended family today to have dinner with them and stuff. So
I was going to ask you that question.
yeah,
That, if you're invited or if you're family, if you go, not so much to celebrate it, but at least to, celebrate spending time, with the family.
yeah, for fellowship, and they all know that what I feel like, and
Hmm.
and they're still sort of receptive to it, but a lot of times, right now they're in this like stage where I feel like they know that I know my Bible, but I think they're also kind of intimidated by how much I know my Bible. And
Yeah.
so they kind of let it go in one ear and out another kind of thing, which it's fine,
Hmm.
because at least they're not, trying to just be like, well, you're wrong because of this. And then I have to be like, well, here you go. Here's all the scriptures. Now take it up with God, kind of thing. But so they're accepting of it, and they know that how I feel about it, so they don't get too overly dramatic with anything. So
That's good. That's good that they're understanding. Cause I would do the same thing. You know what I mean? If I had somebody, my
yeah,
family is pretty open and understanding. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
it
and
would
I
be.
do the same thing with Christmas. I don't celebrate Christmas either, because of the same reasons. It's not biblical. Um, and but I'll still go and have dinner with my family, um, on it. But they know like that not to buy me any gifts or anything like that. And the reasons behind that. And they know that, yeah, we'll pray together, but we're not going to really do much of anything else on it. And they try to go ahead and get their gift opening and stuff done before we come and show up, and stuff like that. And as somebody who's a mom too, like because I used to celebrate all of them when I first converted over from paganism to Christianity until God started laying it on me to look really more deeply at things from the biblical perspective. And then, of course, I saw inconsistencies in it because of my pagan past that had started making me question whether or not it was accurate and when it started, and became
Hmm.
part of the church. And so my son, my almost 14-year-old now. He had been brought up to just go ahead and celebrate it because it really wasn't. Christmas isn't really all that different from celebrating the winter solstice in paganism. um, there's the Yule tree and all of that and whatever. And but when we converted, when God laid it on my heart, I just kind of went to him, and he had lost a tooth, and he had said he knew the tooth fairy wasn't real or whatever. He was like 8 or 9. And he had said, "Hey, I lost a tooth for the tooth fairy and whatever." And I said, "Well," and I kind of just felt like the Holy Spirit come on me, and I'm like, I've got to stop these lies. And so I told him, I said, "Well, you know how God tells us that we're not supposed to lie, right?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, that money and the little present you get when you lose your teeth, that's me. I put those there. The tooth fairy is not real." And I kind of explained to him how it was a pagan tradition. And I said, "So, we really shouldn't do it anymore." And he said, "No, because I don't think God would like it." And then I kind of just used that to lead. And I told him, "Okay, well, then I also have to tell you some other things." And so when I told him about Halloween and the real roots behind Halloween and Christmas, he's like, "I don't want nothing to do with any of them anymore, Mom. I don't want to celebrate them at all." And he's never looked back since. And he was 8, 9, now he's almost 14. And my mom has tried saying she's going to go take him and buy him a costume anyways and take him out because she thinks it's crap that I won't let him engage in this stuff. And he himself says, "I don't want to. It's not right by God, and I'm not going to do it. God saved me and brought me back from the dead. I'm not going to dishonor what he did for me by doing these things that I know are wrong." And so he was fine with it. So it was just kind of about how you approach things when it is brought upon you.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Shelby, again, happy birthday. Um, I don't know if you celebrate Easter or if you did, what what did you go to celebrate your birthday? And if you don't celebrate Easter, did you celebrate 420? Because that's today too. There were like all sorts of things going on with 420 all over in all different cities and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, you know what?
I actually
This is
had
probably the
somebody
most
ask me a
peaceful protest
question
in the
about
entire
that.
world.
And I
Of
actually had
420.
somebody ask me a question about the biblical stance on marijuana, because there was a post that was on Facebook. And um, the person who put it was talking about the pagan roots of the traditions that are engaged in on Easter. Himself, who's a Christian, but he also happens to be on Moonshiner, and he produces alcohol. And there was a couple people who got like really rude to him for stating facts, biblical truth. Um, but started pointing the fingers like, oh, if you really want to be a man of God, then you need to quit producing alcohol because you cause people's lives to be ruined by it. And so I put in a post and I was like, alcohol actually drinking alcohol is not a sin. Christ was perfect and sinless and he drank wine. Noah planted a vineyard and produced wine, and his sin was drunkenness. And I gave them all the scriptures that showed that. That it's
Mhm.
the sin is being overly drunk, and it's about your self control and being able to control it, not the drinking itself or the producing of it.
Mhm.
And so then I ended up having this guy who had read it, my comment, and he liked it, and he uses marijuana in the vape form to be able to for medicine purposes, and he said he only uses it once a day. And so he asked me what my take on that was. And so I went through some scriptures with him, and I said, God gave us all plants, seed bearing plants,
That's
for food
seeds.
and medicine. I said,
Mhm.
however, during the fall, the ground was corrupted, so the seeds did become corrupted as well. So there's discernment that's there. And I said, and really, it has to do, just like with alcohol, it has to do with your intent in your heart. Are you really actually using it for medicine? And are you using it under prayer and guidance of God and trusting God to heal you? Or and a doctor, or are you just using it to use it and
Mhm.
to be high? I'm like, because that's the difference. I'm like, it's not a sin to actually use it, but it depends on the intent that you're using it for. um
Yep.
so yeah, that was an interesting conversation. And then I explained to him, my own personal, like, I used to smoke it for, I have a spinal injury. I
Yep.
was cut out of a car wreck by the jaws of life um, several years back now, almost 14 years ago. It was like not too long before I ended up pregnant with my youngest. And it crushed my spine. I lost like 2 inches off my height from it. And so my spine used to swell sometimes and cut off feeling to my legs. And so I was on like 6 different medications to control it. And somebody had told me that I should just try using the marijuana for it instead, and that maybe I wouldn't have to use the pharmaceuticals. And it was true. It worked. It took me off of it. But then God got a hold of
Mhm.
me and was like, yo, you are supposed to follow me, and you didn't pray to me at all to ask my opinion or guidance at all, and therefore you didn't trust me and ask me for healing and trust that I would give it to you. And I was like, ouch. And so I stopped and I prayed and asked him, and he ended up healing me. So I just don't use it anymore at all, because I
Yep.
don't have
I
the
use
problem.
mine.
So,
Yeah, I have neuropathy in my feet. So I use a lot of the topical on my feet and it works amazing.
yep.
Um, I don't smoke it too often, but I do eat the edibles. A, it helps me definitely relax and sleep, and two, it helps me with my appetite a lot.
Right.
And same thing with the pharmaceuticals. The only thing that I really take now are just my vitamins.
Yeah. And it's still better. Natural is always going to be better because
Yep.
that's what God gave it to us. And like I was saying in Sean's chat last night, a lot of those for one, pharmakia, it's paganism, and so it's basically its roots are literally in transfiguration, um, and the same as like when they were trying to take and change iron into gold, and different things like that. And so it's hidden witchcraft in disguise is what it is. And when you look at a lot of those pharmaceuticals, they, aside from all the poisons and toxins they have, like the venoms and different things like that in them, aborted babies, um,
Mm.
and stuff like that. They also, if you look at the side effects, they give they can cause worse problems than the problem that it's supposedly treating. So
Well, 99% of your pharmaceuticals that you take, you can overdose on.
that too.
And there's a bazillion and one side effects where if you smoke too much, you're gonna get tired and you're gonna go to sleep. Like
Yep.
even alcohol you can overdose on, you can
Yep.
die on. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
definitely look, you know what I mean? And like you
Exactly.
said, it's not so much that, you know, is it a drug? Yes, but there are medicinal purposes. It is a plant. Um, yeah,
Yep.
exactly, Shelby. You just have to know when to
Your
indulge, and if
intention.
you're yeah, and if you're stepping into that line where you have to have it, then you need to back away for a little while. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yep.
Um, like
It's
I
self
can go
control.
Yeah, I can go all day. Like I think I had a half a one this morning and I haven't touched it since, you know what I mean? And I have friends that do the same thing. They'll smoke and then they'll say, "Okay, this is affecting me. I'm getting tired all the time." You know,
And
I'd
they'll back
rather
off.
sit home and do this, and then they'll stop for a couple of months and then
Yep.
see where it
Yep.
goes, and if they can't control it, then they walk away from it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I hate when people say it's a gateway drug because it's not.
No, I never ever in my entire life ever touched anything other than weed. I never had the
Me
desire
too.
to.
I did
Um,
drink, but I
I
never
did. I
touched
drank
any.
alcohol too, but
Yeah,
um,
but I never tried any pharmaceuticals like
yeah,
heroin, Molly, ecstasy. I
acid,
never
any,
tried
yeah,
any of that
any
shit.
of
Nope.
those things, cocaine, and a lot of it too for me was I grew up. My mom and my dad were both super into meth and drug addicts, and so I had a lot of abuse and stuff that I suffered um, because of their use. My mom was very physically abusive for most of my childhood, and so um, it just I never wanted to be like that. And then I watched like my brothers and then other people, friends and stuff, getting involved with the meth and things like that, and I never wanted that for my life. They never had anything. And and I didn't want my kids to be raised by by me, and knowing that there was that potential chance for that to happen and me to carry on those same cycles. I didn't want that for my family and my kids. So I just never had the desire to try anything other than the marijuana. So yeah, it's not a gateway. Um, they just try to claim it is to try to keep people from being able to use it. And unfortunately, like so many other things, there's a lot of stigmatisms on it because of people not knowing what their scripture says too. So, and I had to, point out to these same people that were trying to be naysayers, and it's like, I showed you the scripture. I'm not going to argue with you. Like, the scripture is plain and plainly says what it says. And so take it up with God at this point. But people like to add things that aren't in there to be
Yep.
able to justify their own feelings and not go on exactly what the Bible says as written. And the Bible tells us right in there that doing that, adding to or taking away from his word, is in itself is a sin. So it's like you're trying to take and read into scripture that God says we're not allowed to drink at all. That's adding to his word. That's not what his word says. Um, you're trying to say that you can't use a natural substance for medicinal purposes when his word says clearly different that yes you can. So
That's a great point, Cass. I used to think it was a gateway drug for younger kids, thinking, oh, I did that, so I can handle this. Young and naive, not knowing the difference. And I feel like that goes maybe more onto maybe what the parents kind of instilled and the friends that they let their kids, surround themselves with. Because if you're having these conversations with your kids,
mhm.
um, or in situations where Joyce was in, or my mother had a big cocaine problem, you know what I mean? You just kind of learn from other people's situations and stuff like that. But I definitely think you do have some sort of, you know what I mean? What did my kids say? Because they see it with some of their friends. Strict parents make sneaky kids.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
hundred
So
percent.
I am not so much a strict parent, but I am a strict parent, but more in the fact of you know, schoolwork and stuff like that. Talk to me about other things. Will there be consequences? Yes. You know what I mean? You're at a party and you did something stupid, call me. I'll pick you up, I'll bring you home, I'll tuck you in, I'll tell you I love you, and we'll talk about it in the morning. You know what I mean? Because I don't want them to be afraid to come to me to talk to me and stuff like that. But yeah, teabag, exactly. Pretty sure it says something about not abusing or taking in excess. Exactly.
Exactly.
Um,
Yes, it
if
does.
you
100%.
if you
That's
need
what
it
I was
to
making the point on.
yeah, if you need it to life, then you're not using it the correct way. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? You don't need it to life. Hi, cool frog. Happy Easter. Hope
It
everything
says
went
do
well for
not
you this
it
weekend.
says it's in fact Timothy in first Timothy, Paul actually instructs Timothy to drink a little bit of wine for medicinal purposes and reasons. Um, and so if it was a sin, he wouldn't have told him that. Um, so I mean, there's lots of scriptures that I can give, and I did in my discussion when I went back on that person who was trying to be judgmental and couldn't even give any scriptures either, which is like also frustrating. It's like you're gonna try to tell me I'm wrong, but yet all I'm doing is giving you exactly what the scripture says. I'm not giving you my opinion on what I think they say. I'm just
Mhm.
simply putting the scriptures there. You can take it or leave it, and at that point. Um, but and I'm not going to argue with you. The Bible speaks clearly enough for itself, and so
Mhm.
there's no reason for me to add commentary to it. Nor am I going to argue with you because the Bible's already proved whether or not you're right or you're wrong. I don't
Yep.
have to do that. God already did.
Exactly. Yeah, Cass says that's exactly how I address it too. I'm always honest and somewhat filtered. See, I'm not filtered. I try not to be filtered. I just teach my kids that, could you essentially, I don't want to say hurt because it's not a hurtful thing, but people, the truth can hurt sometimes, you know what I mean?
And
But it's
mhm,
it's better to be truthful and hated than have to remember that lie and continue yourself down that road of a lie to spare the feelings of somebody else. You got to be
yeah,
truthful with yourself and him first before, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I try to instill that all in my kids. Be truthful from the start, and then you don't have to remember the lie. You know what I
I
mean?
always and now I'm at a point where I'm a grandma, so most of my kids are all grown up now. My almost 14-year-old's the last one that I have as a child out of five, but my oldest is halfway through her 20s. Um, and I always was my kids were never afraid to come to me for anything, you know. They knew that there would be consequences, but they also knew that, you know, if they went to a party or did something stupid, that mom would come and pick them up and get them out of the situation. They knew not to just get in a car with somebody who's intoxicated to try to go somewhere, to call mom. And that if they ever got themselves in a situation that they felt uncomfortable, call mom, mom will come get them. And you know, and they still, you know, even now, as adults, most of them, they still, you know, will call me when they feel like they've done something stupid, to ask advice and whatever. But you know, they knew they'd have consequences, but they also knew that I was there to pick them up and that they could tell me anything. And they were taught that, you know, it was better to tell the truth than to lie, because if you were caught lying, your punishment was going to be worse than if you just told the truth in the first place. So, and that helps to keep them from feeling like they have to rebel as much as if you try to keep a really tight rein on them. Um, you know, because a lot of learning comes from making mistakes. um, and but you know, as long as you're putting the biblical truth in them and you're telling them, you know, what God expects and whatever, but yet you're giving them the room to be able to find for themselves, then their faith when they do come to God is going to be more genuine. It's not going to be forced on them. It's not going to be a forced thing where they had to live, you know, they had to, they're just believers because that's what they were taught they had to be, um, without any ability to be able to. And that's like, I think that's part of why I rebelled and went so deep into paganism in the first place as a kid, was because between the abuse that I was going through because of drug addict parents and the strictness and being forced to go to church and everything, it drove me away, for and deep into the occult, where I wanted nothing to do with any of it. um, and I think that happens for a lot of people. They get driven away from God because of that, because they're not really ever given the chance to just be able to fill things out for themselves to
Yeah.
begin with.
I don't know what happened there. My voice just left. Ash, are you in like, oh yeah, you're in the Missouri area. So my friend Lou that I used to be on the podcast with, he was saying that you guys were definitely getting some severe storms going on there. So I hope you and
Yeah, I
your
saw that
missus
too.
and the kiddos are holding in there okay. And are they like, are you just having like severe thunderstorms, or are you like got some tornado warnings going on there? Cool Frog, how was your I popped in earlier. Um I don't know if you saw me there, but I said hello. Um it's crazy. I hope the weather stays somewhat okay. I mean, I do love a great storm, but when they turn deadly and dangerous, it's not so much, but you know, I do think weather is beautiful. Cass said, went through hell with my oldest daughter and learned hard lessons as she was and is innocent. So the safe word was, yeah, we have a safe word here, as well. Usually the kids will call me, and if, you know, my son would be like, he would call me and be like, hey, mom, can you take my, you know, Celtics sweater out of the dryer for me? I think I left it in there. And then I would know and be like, oh, no, you know what? You didn't do your chore. I asked you to switch the laundry. Now you need to come home because you didn't do what I asked you to do to go out. And that's how we kind of played it, um, until he got enough of the courage that he needed to be like, you know what? You're putting me in an uncomfortable situation. I don't like this. I'm leaving. You know, until they were able to find their words. Sometimes it's difficult, especially if there's like a parent in the room that's making them uncomfortable. It is kind of intimidating to go up against a grown up, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. So if they, and I think my son only used that like once or twice, um, to kind of get out of things and stuff like that. But yeah, we had a safe word, safe thing too as well. You know what I mean? I don't, if they're already in an uncomfortable situation, I don't want to make them more uncomfortable where they kind of shut down and they don't call and ask for help. You know what I mean?
I use
So,
the safe word things too with my kids.
yep, 100%.
They work. They
And that's
work.
usually what it came down to is something with a chore. You know what I mean? That they're supposed to
Hmm.
do, like, "Mom, I forgot to switch the laundry," or "Mom, I forgot to unload the dishwasher." Something where their friends know, because I always say, you can go out, but make sure your stuff is done first, meaning your homework, make sure, your room's picked up, whatever chore you have assigned to you that day, make sure that's done before you go out. So that's what they would use, and their friends would be like, "Oh, damn it, you didn't do what you were supposed to do." Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. I
that's
always
kind of
told
where
my
it
kids
went.
that if they ever felt uncomfortable, that they were always free to use me as the excuse of why they couldn't stay. My mom wants me home.
Yep.
I have to go home. I didn't do my chores. I'm grounded. I'm getting grounded
Yeah,
because I didn't
exactly.
do X
Yep.
or whatever.
Use me. My son also would every so often be like, "Oh, my mom," even though I wasn't going out anywhere, my son would use the thing, "Oh, my mom's got to do an errand and I have to watch my sisters, so I can't come out tonight." You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, because a
And it
14 to
helps
16
them
was
save
tough. He's
face
different. Yeah, yep. My son went
because
to, and you know what? And
kids
once
are
I found with
vicious.
my son has an amazing head on his shoulders, very smart. Even from the time he was 2, 3, 4 years old, people used to always tell me he's an old soul. You know what I mean? You can see it, feel it, you can sense it. Um, he would open the doors for people and they'd be like, "Oh my God, you raised such a gentleman." And I was like, "How is this like a thing? How am I being praised for this? Because this is how they're supposed to be raised." You know what I mean?
Right?
You know what I
That's
mean? But
similar
I
to
was
my youngest.
very, yeah, you know what I mean? I was very lucky with my son. There was only a handful of times, like I said, where he put himself in that situation. And I found with him, he learned, like, why are my friends keep putting me in this situation? And then finally realized, like, oh, I found this new friend in the process and they don't make me feel that way. Something's off here. You know what I mean? And
Right?
eventually he walked away. My daughter, great through middle school. I am I am dreading September. My Erin, honor roll student, high honors since 6th grade. I think maybe one term she had just regular honor roll. She missed the high honors by like a B minus or B plus. Like it was like literally like 2 points away. Um, but stuff like that. But I have I have one going into freshman year in high school. High school's a whole nother ball game. Plus she's going to a trade school. So she's going to meet kids from different communities that she's never been around. And we all know teenagers are a little more, persuasive than middle schoolers. And then I
Hmm.
have my child who I ask for guidance all the time on because, oh, man, she pushes those buttons. Who's going into middle school? So it is going to be a very interesting next year. One in middle school. Middle school is tough at any age, no matter head on their shoulders, right or not, wrong. It's just a nightmare. And high school is going to shape my other daughter into what she's going to be. Teabag and therapist, I agree with you 100%. Our culture has completely fallen. Like I said, when people would say, "Oh, your child's so great, he's holding the door," and they would like praise him, and I'm like, don't listen. Just say thank you. Don't praise him for something that I have raised him to do, because then he's going to turn and be like, why is everyone excited that I'm holding, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just like, it's just fascinating to me that we have lost our way. You know what I mean? Like, Does my
Well, I
husband open the
think,
car door for me every time it's raining? I mean, every time we go out to the car? No. But if it's raining or it's cold, he'll go out and start the car for me. He will, open the door for me in that situations. It doesn't have to be, will he always hold the door for me? Yes. You know what I mean? Just different things. It's a lot.
well,
Yeah,
I think too, though,
crazy.
that like a lot of the times when people find a child that has those mannerisms because they've been raised that way, it's so uncommon now that they're just shocked at having a child that still has those kind of mannerisms. They don't really fully understand that there are still parents that teach their children proper manners. And so I think that because of that, that's their first, oh, to praise them for it, like, and praise you, like, oh, you're raising such a great kid and whatever. And they don't understand, like, that you're not supposed to praise them for it because it's something that we should all be instilling in our children. And
Yeah.
but and it goes back, though, to the fallen world. Yeah, it's the fallen, like the Bible tells us about it, and it's only going to get worse before Christ comes back. So
Yeah. Speaking of, my daughter is messaging me because I turn her electronics off at 10 o'clock during like the school nights. You know what I mean? So she has time to unwind, do what she needs to do without any distractions. She's like, Mommy, it's vacation. Can I have a little more time? So if you see me looking down, I have to go in and change all the parental controls here to give her a little more
free
time.
time,
So,
more
yeah,
free time.
a little more free time. Okay, what's
My
today? Today,
my son, I homeschool, so he goes back tomorrow, um, which is also funny because my granddaughter, she's not homeschooled, but she just finished too, so she goes back tomorrow as well.
yeah, we have April break here. I feel like it's more to because they went back and forth with because they have February vacation and then they have like April vacation. You know what I mean? And I was always
Hmm.
like, why are there back to back vacations? But what it is depending on this is the time of year where a lot of kids get sick. You got the flu, you got strep, you got the tummy
Right.
bug, and it's basically just a way for the school to air out and basically be completely cleaned to let those germs just kind of dissipate and try to
Die.
disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's shocking is how many people don't raise their kids. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that is
Exactly.
shocking. That's what I
Yeah.
find
But like I
shocking.
said,
Like, you don't raise your
all
child that way? What?
yeah, my kids, like I said, I mean, you just saw it here. My kids do have electronics. Um, but I know how much time they're only allowed certain amount of time on certain apps. All of the parental controls are on. So if it's like my daughter is 11, she does not have TikTok on her phone or anything like that. You know what I mean? And they all get cut off. My little one gets cut off at 9 o'clock. My older one gets cut off at 10 o'clock. Um, and yeah, the school does require it. It's crazy because then you sit there and you bring them to their doctor's office and they're like, here's the form for their age. Only allow, 2 hours of screen time. Yeah, we get the 2 hours, but they're at school now. And after COVID, everything's done on their laptops. They don't have
Well,
books
and
anymore in school.
it
They have
was
books to read.
transitioning that from that even before COVID. Like,
See, not so much here.
even
COVID kind of
in
pushed it through that
Oregon,
limit.
my older kids in Oregon before COVID, for like 3 years before, they had already pretty much been transferred to just doing everything online and through worksheets without any books. But also, Oregon passed laws during COVID that removed the requirement for it to be proficient for children to be proficient in reading, writing, and math to graduate. And now Trump just removed the additional COVID funds that schools were getting. And Oregon, who is the lowest in reading skills out of all states right now is complaining that because they lost COVID funds, that they're going to have to cut reading and math programs because they're losing this money and won't be able to afford it. And it's like, my question was, what did you do before COVID and having those funds to be able to run those programs? Like, how
that's quite
you had
interesting.
them, you had the ability and had those programs before, and then you decided you were going to use COVID as an excuse to make it to where it's not required to be proficient in these things because math and reading are racist. And now you're going to complain that you're losing COVID funds that you never had until COVID, to that you can't. It's like, no, you're just using those as excuses because really you want to dumb down children so that you have people that are compliant and will just do what you want, and you can take away their freedoms because they're
Yeah. Yeah.
dependent on
Cass, you
government
are
to live.
100. Cass, your comment, COVID removed books. It 100% removed books. They took all the books away for their learning and put a laptop in front of them where they can absolutely 100% control, edit, and change anything they want without having to reprint and redistribute the history books.
Yep.
It was all a freaking, it was all planned. It was all planned. Um, it's just disgusting. I have to say, thankfully, in the school systems that we're in, I have noticed a huge change. My daughter, I posted one thing you probably seen. I think I talked on Lou's channel about it too. Surprisingly, a lot of her teachers are Republicans. Oh,
Put a shirt on if you're going to come in here, please. That's
been
that's
there,
my
Joyce.
youngest baby.
Oh,
He
he's
didn't expect
tall.
me to be alive. Yeah, he's taller than all of his siblings, and he's only 14, not even 14.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, they handed out free laptops.
he's
Yeah,
he's
I think at the
almost 6 foot already.
holy macaroni and cheese.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
Yeah,
think he
they
might
handed
have
out.
Nephilim blood in there somewhere.
See, I went the other way. I probably went
Devastating for you.
exactly. Um, yeah, it's my little one, they had tablets, like little iPads, and then the older ones got um laptops, and that's what they have now. That's what they do all their testing on, their reading on. Like I said, they do have books, but not like the books we used to have. You know what I mean? My daughter, my Erin, oh, it's so cute. Um, my Erin loves to read, and her teacher's amazing. Like if they have a book that, we don't have or anything like that, she'll say to her teacher, "Ooh, I'm really interested in this book." And then the teacher will say, "Okay," and she'll actually go buy it and put it into her own library in their classroom to read it. So that thankfully I'm pretty lucky at. And like I said, I noticed a huge change this year in their social studies and what they're learning as far as government wise, which was both amazing to me because like I said, I grow up, you guys all know I'm from Massachusetts. It's one of the bluest states in the entire country, where we literally have sanctuary cities and sanctuary trans communities. You know what I mean? Like blue estate, and to see their teachers. I mean, they had one project that I posted of her work, and it was like, what do the Democrats do? What do the Republicans do? And she got an A+ on it, of course. And they were like, oh, what do the Democrats do? And she was like, well, they have open borders. They allow illegal immigration to happen, like all these different things. And I posted it on Twitter, and I got either 100% people like, this is amazing to see in your state, this is great. And then I had those lefties, you know what I mean, that were like, this is disgusting, they're brainwashing children. And it's like, um huh. Like, it's literally here, we can see the open border, that's not lying, and that's there. We have the biggest amount of illegal, like, it's crazy. Yeah. Oh, see, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it
New
still
York is a
happens
shit
like
blue state. All over agree. Yeah.
we're a red state. We're a red state, and it's still, you know, it's better than like in Oregon, but there's still definitely some like issues like um last year when I was substitute teaching for one of the local elementary schools here, and it's more of a was more of a charter school that's like independently ran, so it doesn't have to follow the same rules as like the public school system, even though it's still technically public school. And they
Mm-hmm.
didn't have like an actual library for kids to go and check out books and stuff, and like um but like our governor had like already like made them go through this public school libraries to get rid of all the like pornographic books that were not age appropriate for in elementary
Yeah.
schools that were getting put in and stuff like that. And
If you need to go,
but
Joyce, it's
my
okay.
oh no, I'm fine. But but I had this fourth grade kid and he brought a book to me from the just regular like classroom library that the teacher had created, and he said, Miss Joyce, I don't think that this book's appropriate for us. And I asked him, I said, what do you mean, honey? And he tentatively opened the book and he showed it to me, and it was teaching in a fourth grade classroom, telling kids about very graphically about um, male homosexual sex in the book. And I looked at him and I said, thank you for bringing it to my attention, and you're 100% right, it's not
Mm-hmm.
appropriate. And I said, unfortunately, there's not really anything that I can do about it because I'm not your teacher. And I said, but take it and put it on her desk with a note marking the page and let her know that maybe she might need to better review her books before she puts them in the classroom. And I said, and you might
Mm-hmm.
also want to take it and present it to the principal and let him and show it to him, so the principal can talk to her. And he said, okay. And he went and he did that. But like even me, I've encountered it as a college student. And I had a few terms back a political science class, and they were trying to claim that we live in a democracy, and I had to, and of course my professor was younger than me, and I had to push back and tell him, I'm sorry, we do not. We live in a constitutional republic and they are not interchangeable. This is the difference between a democracy and a constitutional republic. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
thankfully, he received it well, and I still passed and got an A. But then, like, I'm also going through it right now with my class this term. I'm taking anthropology, and that's heavily based on trying to push evolution as fact. Um, and so I always show the other side of science and show the gaps and the holes in the evolution theory. And then I showed the side from the creation science standpoint. And my professor was at first trying to give me lower grades on my assignments because he didn't like the fact that I wasn't just agreeing with evolution theory. Um, but then he, instead of like trying to have a public debate with me on it because he knew he would lose, he was sending me nasty emails, private
Yeah.
emails.
Oh yeah,
And
we had this conversation.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so I told him, I'm gonna, you can have fun explaining to the dean why you're giving me, who has sources and very well done assignments and reports on why you're giving me lower grades than you're giving to other students in the class, simply because you don't like the fact that I don't agree. And now he's all of a sudden giving me the grades that I deserve. So, but it's like,
yeah.
I'm not going to allow you to program me. Like, when I know something is not factual and is not a complete fact, and it's a theory that isn't proven, I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah, Teabag, you're right. If you walked around the mall and showed kids pictures in that book or started reading them out loud, you would be arrested 100%. Now, I may have like kind of split thoughts about these books and stuff like that. Now, as far as these books, I do believe in freedom of speech. Um, I do believe what this does is it puts everything out there, but this is supposed to make the parents be more involved in what their kids are reading and what's put in front of them. Do I think they should be banned completely? No. I do think the parent has the right to teach their kids, I guess, what they feel is age appropriate and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I don't think they should be in schools. I don't think there's something that, they should just be handed out and the parents like, "Oh, what are you reading? Maybe I should look into that." Or have zero idea what the book is about. You know what I mean? And really great features now, especially with like rock and stuff like that. My little one, Emma, came home with a book. And I've never read it. She already started it in school. All I had to do was, ask Rock, "Hey, my daughter is 11 years old. She's reading this book in school. Are there any, suggestive themes? Are there any, you know, things that I should be aware of, that may come up?" And it was like, there's no sexual content, nothing, to these things, but it may open up. I forget what the book, I think it was about like Nazi Germany or something like that. So, you know what I mean? It was a book from, I think, from a kid's point of view. I can't remember what it was. You know what I mean? And it did open up some kind of dialogue on, how she felt because, you're reading, you feel emotions from that book and stuff like that. Um, but I do think because if you start banning books for different reasons, then they're going to turn around and be like, "You know what? I think, you know, example, you fight for their free speech, but they will never do the same for you." Yeah, Teabag, I see what you're saying there, but you know what? They may never do the same for me and fight the same for me. Um, and I think different topics and stuff like that, like the Dr. Seuss books, you know what I mean? Like one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. There are no suggestive themes in that book. You know what I mean? So there is definitely a line. The pornographic materials to little kids is just disgusting and repulsive. And those books should be banned and have certain age appropriate, restrictions put on them. But other books that they have banned, um, some of them shouldn't really be banned. You know what I mean? I think it's up to the parent on whether, your kid is maybe, stuff like that. But different things, like I said, like the Dr. Seuss books and stuff like that. I just I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Free speech is a huge line for me, whether I like it or whether I don't like it, and whether they would fight the same for me that I would fight for mine are a little bit different. They already do, but being allowed to slip through for some, yeah. Some of these books, I agree with you, Teabag. It's there's lines, and lines have been crossed. Maybe it is to the point where we have to ban all the books and then just start from scratch. I don't know. I don't have the answers for that. But like I said, I do think some books should be banned and some of them should be at the discretion of the parents and what they feel. Because once you start infringing on certain freedom of speeches because I don't like it, but they do, and I like it and they don't. It's just a very slippery slope. You know what I mean? Cass says versus, oh, I may have to go up there. That's also a huge issue kids deal with at school too. Too many teachers are biased and indoctrinating your kids. Yeah, we need to go back to the day where we didn't know our teachers' political affiliations, their sexual orientation. Geez, I didn't even know if my teachers were married, you know what I mean? And now, most kids will be like, "Oh, they had a ring on their finger." I didn't notice that stuff in elementary school or middle school, high school, maybe, but it wasn't like something that was like pointed out, you know what I mean? It just needs to go back to, and that's why I'm kind of glad Trump is dismantling the education. I forget the name of it. You know what I mean? And bringing it back to the states, because what this is going to do is this is going to force parents to be more involved. They're going to turn back and be like, you know what? My tax money is going to this now, this way in my state. I should be aware what's going on. They may push a little bit harder for their kids and stuff like that. So I'm hoping it kind of works. Actual history, English, general math, on and on. Yeah, my son was shocked and said, "Mom, why don't they teach about Texas, etc. when it oh that scrolled up when um it's required as an adult, etc." South Park, oh, I went through this. Yeah, some books should have limits to be available. I wouldn't want my teen to have full porn available in their library, but I do agree. Yeah, 100% cast. I think if it has any sexual orientation to it, it should be 18 or older, and that's it. But like I said, some of these books like Dr. Seuss, there's a bunch of other titles, that I have read where I'm like, okay, should my 11-year-old read it? My Emma right now? No. But my Erin at 11 years old would have been able to handle some of those, themes in that book. You know what I mean? Like war and stuff like that. So I think it has to do with the child and your relationship with that child. And you know your child best and what they'd be able to handle as a human and what their emotions can handle. But again, that porn shit, pardon my language, that just 18 years or older, you figure that out on your own. You know what I mean? That's not me, but
Yeah, it
yeah,
shouldn't be it shouldn't be
there has to be
explicit
a limit.
porn. It shouldn't be explicit
No,
porn. And
no,
like I remember like when I was a kid and I was in school, and you got into like junior high when you were starting to go through the puberty and whatever, they used to have health classes that were specialized that they would separate the girls from the boys out to start educating them on the changes that their bodies and stuff were going through. But even
they don't do
then,
that anymore.
they still, no, they don't. And even then, they still had to send home a permission slip for your parent to sign for you to even be able to participate. But now they're
They
like
still
trying
do
to
that.
show all this stuff. Not in most schools.
So
They
yeah,
um,
my little one just went through this. They actually sent us all of the curriculum that they were going to go over. They sent us all the videos that they were going to show. So you know what they're talking about. You know this. I think this is like the second or third year they've done this, which they never used to do before. They don't separate them, but you do have the option as a parent to pull your kid out of that class, and they would just send them to the library to do like their own study or makeup work and stuff like that.
see
But they
my
they
kids,
definitely let us know this the last
the
couple of years.
the school that I was in, my kids were in Oregon. No, they did not. They
See, I
just
have never
teach them.
seen that teabag and therapist. I've only
Me
seen
either.
that on the movies. I've only seen that in the movies. You know what I mean? That I have never seen. Um, but they
Probably
they don't
because we
teach
weren't
that.
in the guys class because we're girls.
Oh, maybe. But
That's
even in
probably
my
why.
Miss Emma's class, they played a little video. It basically, talked about, you know, the importance of cleanliness, deodorant. They did go over the facts, that boys are different, girls are different. They didn't go into like sexual orientation. Darnell.
Part of that could be because of all the backlash that was happening over the last few years, though. Because of
Darnell.
all the stuff that was being taught. Hello, Darnell.
How was the
Hey
Easter Bunny at
guys.
your house? Because the Easter Bunny bought presents here, and then
What?
I think they also bought strep throat.
Oh, that son of a bitch.
My
It was
my Emma took her after Easter dinner nap that everyone takes and woke up with like 101.5 fever.
that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks big
Yeah.
time.
So how was your day?
It was good. We went to my in-laws and had a crawfish boil. Had a bunch of beer, a bunch of crawfish, a whole lot of garlic, and
You
just
know,
getting
I've
home.
never had crawfish.
Oh, you don't until you come to Louisiana, because everywhere you go, they say, "Oh, we're boiling crawfish." It's shit.
Well, see, I'm from Boston. We have lobster here. So I
Yeah.
tell people don't do lobster anywhere unless you go to Boston or Maine. So same thing with the crawfish.
Yes.
She's
You ate the butt off.
so
Don't
cute.
even start.
That is
Oh, another cutie.
on her shirt.
That's
That is one of the Hello Kitty characters.
yeah, it's a cinema roll. You have chocolate all of you. You can go
Misha
change.
Roni or
Go. Cinema roll.
But Dad, she's still eating chocolate, so why change? She's just gonna get
Cinnamon
chocolate
roll.
on what she changed into.
Come on, baby. Right. What's bad is this used to be a garage, so the lock is on the inside of the house. They can lock me in here. Please don't lock it. Please don't lock it. Ugh,
Oh,
they're gonna kill me.
You'll be okay, Dad. You'll be okay. I promise.
Yeah.
You'll make
oh,
it
I
through.
remember Easter when my kids were little.
You'll make it through. I promise.
So fun.
Then you get to do it all over again as a grandparent, but you get to spoil them and send them back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Darnell, did I just get a thing that says Darnell Quigley just started following my channel?
I was following your Mom's Mysteries and Mayhem's channel. I just followed your Shorty channel. Because I had you in my
that's
following
weird.
list.
Because it just
Right.
said Darnell Quigley just started following your channel.
Well, okay, so on the left of Rumble it says following with the channels. You've been there. But when I went to your page, it said not yet, it said follow. So I was already following you. I don't know why it removed me.
Weird.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That happened the other day too with somebody too. And I'm like, I know you've been following me for a while. Like, why is it just saying all of a sudden you're following me?
I don't know.
Rumble rumbles. That's all.
Yeah.
I think it.
So you
did
had a
that to me
seafood
one
boil,
time, too.
garlic. I learned from my husband today that apparently. I'm sorry, Joyce. Go ahead.
I said I think it did that to me one time too. I went to come watch your show and it said I wasn't following you. I was like, yeah, I am. What's going on here?
Yeah, that shit happened.
Oh, Teabag. Yeah, I saw you followed me too. It's weird. It's weird. So you had a seafood boil with lots of garlic. Garlic is my favorite. I learned today from my husband. Apparently, there is a thing as too much garlic, which he's been with me for 23 years, and I'm Italian. There's no such thing as too much garlic.
Well, when your skin it's coming out of your pores, that you had too much. So
No, you're just flushing out your system. It's a great antibacterial property.
Yeah, but
Antibiotic too.
very true. I went to after Hurricane Ida, my job moved to Mississippi for a few months, so we were there in Gulfport, which is like near Biloxi, and there's a place called Tony's Brick Oven Pizza, and they serve appetizers of like a whole bulb of garlic. They cut the top off and roast it. I ate a whole bulb and half my brother-in-law's bulb. So the next morning, I leave to go meet my boss at his house to drive to the airport where we were doing our job. And on the way to the job, he's like, "What did you fucking eat?" I said, "Bro, I ate a whole shit ton of garlic." He said, "I could smell you." And I farted while driving. And, garlic gives you gas. He rolled the window down, puked while driving, got back in the car while I was still driving, put all the windows open, the sunroof. I like, holy shit, that is me, and I could smell myself. Yeah, that's when you've had too much garlic.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love garlic though. Ugh.
Me too. But yeah, we had oranges in it. Orange actually kind of like counters the spice, so it gives like a sweet spice. And the corn soaks it all up. The corn was like candy bars. Just, oh god, so good.
So you
Like I said, I've never had a seafood boil. Like, well, we have clam bakes here. You know what I mean, with clams, lobster, stuff like that. But I've never had like crawfish seafood boil with the corn and all that stuff.
Oh, it's so good. We have
I haven't either.
Oh, girls, y'all would love it. There's a place near
And
about 5
you're in
miles
South
from me.
Carolina, aren't you?
Yeah,
She's
I
near
am.
Nate.
And you've never
Yeah,
had one?
I'm near Charleston.
I
No,
went
I
to
haven't
Myrtle
been to
Beach a couple
one.
years ago.
Hi, Rebel.
I haven't been there yet because I was originally from Oregon. My grandfather was born here in Charleston, but I just moved here back in 2021
Okay.
with my mom and my aunt and my granddaughter. But we have like tons of family and stuff over here that I'm just like getting to know and
Okay.
be able to be involved with that I'd never met.
Yeah.
Which makes dating hard too because we've got such a big family that like I don't know them, and like already as it is,
Like,
like
are you a cousin?
yeah, and then like every time I turn around, there's a new like last name that's like associated to our family, but like my son, my older son, my 19-year-old, he had this group of friends that he got involved with when we first moved over here. And there was this one boy that kept was coming over to our house and he would go over there. Well, it turns out that he's our cousin. And
Oh no.
so like one night my son was over at their house and she takes a picture of her son and my son and she sends it to my mom and she said, yeah, this is my son Jimmy and his friend Tillman. And my mom said, Laura, that's my son, my grandson. And so then like Tillman, my son, he calls me crying because like my grandfather's the only like relative like sister to him that's left is his great grandmother. And so he got to meet her and he said that it was like hugging his grandfather, his great grandpa, my grandpa, again.
Aww.
By hugging his
What are you gonna have to do? Like travel like 4 towns over?
I don't know, because like I've even
How
asked
are
my
you
mom,
gonna
like one time I asked my mom, I'm like, well, I guess I'll just date African American men then. And my mom's like, no dice. And I was like, she's like, we have African American men in our family too. And I was like, well, then I guess Mexican. And she's like, nope, no dice. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna Chinese. And she's like, nope. And I was like, okay, well, then I guess I'm just gonna have to find somebody in a different country.
Darnell has a theory on this. Go ahead, Darnell.
Yeah, so down here, a few of the girls I had got to know very well were family, but like 6th or 7th or 8th cousins. So it's like you could find people that you're not related to, but there's going to be some kind of relation somewhere down the line or in this area.
Like
so,
I
yeah.
even had to ask my son too, like his fiance. I was like, you better make sure that there's no pal, no this, no that in their family because you might end up accidentally dating a cousin or something, like with how much our family.
Teabag said you're gonna have to go Eskimo.
Right? Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I something like live. Good thing that I'm not really looking though, because it's like God's just gonna have to drop them on my head anyway if He wants me to be with somebody. Because like I've had such bad experiences.
Can you guys hold down the fort for a minute?
Yeah,
my little one.
Sure.
But yeah, And your garlic story is funny too, Darnell, because at our family dinner today, my son's fiance was telling us a story. Like, she's in her second trimester of pregnancy right now, and my son, ever since she entered it, he's, I guess, been sleeping really crazy, and he's been like sleepwalking and talking in his sleep and all kinds of stuff, and very restless, and then doesn't remember it. And I guess, like she said, a month ago she had the flu really bad, and she had taken and put a bowl of chicken noodle soup on their headboard, and in his sleep he punched the headboard and he knocked the soup down on top of his head. And he thought he woke up. She said he looked like he was gonna cry, and he asked her why she threw the soup at him. And
then my gosh.
He said he was gonna go take a shower, and she said she doesn't know what he did while he was in the bathroom, because he came back and it looked like he'd showered because his hair was wet and stuff.
Yeah.
And she said, but the next day she woke up to a text from him, and he told her, I don't know what's going on, but for some reason, the smell of chicken noodle soup just keeps following me everywhere I go at work today. He's like, my hair smells like chicken soup. I don't know why.
Oh my God. Oh. Poor dude.
She said that he took the fitted sheet off the bed at one point, and just all of a sudden in his sleep took the corner of it off the bed and covered his face with it.
What the hell?
Oh my goodness gracious, child, what is going on with you?
That is crazy.
I guess he was being really mean to her too at one point in his sleep, and she was telling him about it the next day, and he's like, you should have smacked me. And she said, no, because you were sleeping, so I knew you were dreaming or something. She said, but if you would have been talking to me like that in real life, I would have sent you home to your mama and told you to explain to your mama why, and your mom would have slapped you for me.
That's awesome. That's insanely awesome.
I'm like, she's the one who's supposed to not be able to sleep very well. What in the heck's going on here, child? I told her to start making him sleep on the couch.
Yeah. Hey, give me 1 second. I'm still sitting here. My kid wants to ask a question. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, you're fine. His daughter asked him a question, so he muted for a second.
Crabbits. Sorry, Crabbits. Just a little history here. My little one woke up after Easter nap with 101.5 fever and a sore throat. So I think strep throat has entered the chat. And she's on her way to La La Land. So I just wanted to make sure her fever wasn't extremely high, because I try not to give them any fever reducing medicine until it's absolutely necessary, because your body spikes that fever for a reason. You know what I mean? It tells your body, hey, let's fight. And if you suppress the fever, then your body's like, hey, the virus is gone. We don't need to fight anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they're pretty good. Even my son to this day, when they ask for an Advil, I know they have tried everything. They have tried the water. They've tried the Celtic salt. They've tried, something cold like a popsicle. Even my Emma, when I hopped on here, you know what I mean? My husband just said she put herself right in the shower, checked, the temperature, so it wasn't too hot, too cold, to bring her body temperature down naturally. And she's holding steady right at 101. So
now, is Emma your youngest one?
Yes, she's the one that I have to pray for guidance consistently because, oh man, she is my tough one. But she is my fighter, but she is my lover. So she loves hard and she fights hard. So she's very passionate.
This
She's
is so you
very
can.
boisterous. So
My oldest was my most difficult, and she was a girl too. And then my 19-year-old was my most difficult out of my boys. But my oldest was by far the worst out of mine. And
so
yeah,
far, like I said, I have been so good. I know the shoe's gonna drop. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
unless I'm that lucky, and you know what? I could be. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say there's not a chance. Um, and I pray every night that, you know what I mean, that I have the guidance, the patience, and to show her the way, you know what I mean? So you
right.
never know. I could get lucky. Is there going to be ups and downs? Of course there are. I
There
mean,
always is,
absolutely. But
but if you train
hopefully
them,
she's not that one. But if she is, I'm
well,
prepared for it.
well, scripture says that if you train them up in the way that they should go, even if they strayed, they're gonna still eventually come
They'll
back
come
to
back.
it.
Yep.
It might take years because my oldest, like I said, she's halfway to her through her. She's 27. She'll be 27 in October, 28.
I still can't believe you have a
And
27-year-old.
yeah, but she's still very much a rebel and hasn't completely come back to her ways and settled down yet. But I still pray for her every day, and eventually she will. But also part of it too is because like she was raised with me being completely pagan, so she doesn't even know the Christian values because she wasn't brought up with them at all
Yeah.
either. Whereas you contrast that with my youngest, and he's now, he was only 7 at the transition, and now he's almost 14. So he's been able to see both sides, and now he has had his own experiences, so
Yeah.
he goes with Christ.
Right.
But when you weren't with Christ and you were deeply involved in witchcraft and the occult with the other ones that are older, it's going to take longer, and you're going to have to pray more for them when you do convert, that they come back.
Right.
But the saving grace for them though is that like my grandmother and other people in my family that were more active with them, with the older ones, they were Christian, so she still got some of those Christian values.
Right.
Even though
Right.
I didn't.
Yeah. No, I feel you. So like, I personally am an atheist. My wife's Catholic. I grew up Catholic. So, and I encourage my kids, go to church with mom. Go to church. I encourage all that because I want them to make their own decisions. I will not force them to follow what I believe. I want them to
Right.
come up with
My
their own. And
husband's the same way.
I
I
encourage
did
them
that
to do what you
too
gotta
as
do.
a pagan. When I was pagan, I did the same thing. I told my kids they could go to church. I didn't stop them from going to church and stuff. But but some of them they just
Yeah, my
didn't. They
husband's the same
preferred
way. He's like,
paganism.
get him baptized, don't get him baptized. That's up to you. I'll support you whatever you want. You know my beliefs. And
I'm encouraging her to get them
my son,
baptized.
both my yeah.
But I can't force the two with my second wife to get baptized because she would fucking lose her mind. Because if I decide anything, it's automatically evil, no matter if it's something she agrees with. So I can't. If they have to want to, I think one wants to. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at getting him done too.
But it's still nice though that like you can have such different beliefs from your wife and it still work, because a lot of times that's a big contention that makes things fall apart.
I was shocked that
3
she was okay
things
with it.
that ruin a marriage: how to raise your children,
Yep.
sex, and money.
That too. Yep. But like a lot of people, because of their beliefs, they have different beliefs around those things too. And so, when you have
Yep.
different beliefs around those things because of your religious beliefs and views, then you're already there. That's part of the reason why in scripture it says not to be unequally yoked.
Yeah.
So
the religion didn't come up, I think, till the end of our first date. It was like 9 hours, our date. So by that point,
Wow.
we really knew each other. It was like we got really deep into it. So like when it might not have been our first date. When I told her, I said, "Look, I want to tell you something, but I need you to understand where I come from, what happened, and why I'm here." And I explained it to her, and she was the first person I met. I'd met quite a few women on the dating apps. She was the first person I met who was Christian, who was accepting of me.
right.
Like all the others were like, the second they heard, even though I explained everything to them, they were still like, "Oh, I can't talk to you. Oh, I'm gonna go to hell." Block. Oh, okay.
Well, see, and I'm the opposite. Like, I tried using dating apps, of course, because like it's what else am I going to do? One, I work from home. I'm in a place where I don't know really much of anybody but family. And then I've got family I don't know if they're family or not. But being a Christian, it didn't work for me because the minute they'd find out like that I was a Christian, they're just like, "Oh, I don't want anything to do with you being a Christian." And so I had the opposite of that. So it's just interesting how different people view different things when it comes to stuff like that one with dating.
Oh, yeah.
So Darnell, is it school vacation week here too?
Yes, it is. That's why they're still up. Yes.
Yeah. See, I'm telling you, the older they get, my little one's not feeling good. But regardless, both of them, all of my kids are in bed already.
I tried. They're all like, "But we don't have school."
That's how they used to be, and now it's kind of like worn off a little bit. The older they get. I mean, my son's got work tomorrow, so he's on his way to bed because he gets up at like 5:15 or 5:30 in the morning.
How old's your son?
But the other two, he'll be 20 in June.
Mine will be 20 in
He's a welder. Nice. Yeah, my son's a welder, so he works Monday. He has the fucking greatest schedule. He works Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 6 to 4:30.
That is a nice schedule.
That's it. And if they have overtime, like when it gets to their busy season, they only do a half a day on Friday, so it'll be like 6 to 12.
My son works building cars for Volvo.
Let's see, the shipyards here. We have one shipyard specifically is the exclusive shipyard for the Coast Guard, for the cutters. Everyone is built here. They're 7 days a week. When they've got a new cutter, they're 7 days a week. But like you'll pass a shipyard on Saturday and Sunday, you'll see the same cars there every Saturday, Sunday. Those guys work 7 days a week. They want that overtime.
My son, he, like I said, he works for Volvo building the actual cars at the plant here, and he works tons of overtime whether he wants to or not. Like they force it. Like they're almost to a point where it's almost inhumane sometimes. Like there was one time that he worked 14 days straight, and he was working like 16-hour days.
Yeah.
And he was just getting so tired.
What he should look into is vending machines.
He's actually getting ready to go to apprenticeship to be a lineman.
That's a good job too, and a very good paying job. But like this is like a passive income that will replace your main income.
Yeah.
So like you find a place like an apartment complex that would let you put it in there, and you explain to them, "I do everything. You just collect 30% of my profit. Every month I'll give you 30%." And he can fill it, or you can fill it every time it needs to be filled, and eventually you pay someone. But like you don't put like just candy or snacks. Put like pencils
and stuff too.
Tampons, toilet paper, condoms, brushes, shampoo, things they don't have to leave for.
Right.
And crayons for the little kids.
Right. Like, hey, look, we're like put boxes of crayons and put them, mark the price up for yourself, but put them at a decent price. So they're like, shit, it's easier just to go downstairs and grab this or go down to the front office and grab this, and you'll notice you'll be making $5,000-6,000 a month on that thing.
That's
And you put up a second one.
actually a very good idea.
You can pay someone $20 an hour to fill that. They'll fill one or two that you got. It's $50 a week these people are making. I mean, you're bringing in a shit ton of money. You know.
Yeah, I might have to tell him that.
Yeah, my husband works at the
do it for you.
Yeah, my husband works at Procter. Well, it used to be Procter and Gambler. But he basically, their company, they're owned by a Malaysian-based company. Mm-hmm. Who actually, terrible story. They did bad things over in Malaysia, like took over farms, and like there was like this whole, I guess, documentary on, I don't know. But they make all like the shampoos, the soaps, hand sanitizers, all of that stuff. And I think they let somebody go, and you know, it takes a year to train them on the systems. You know what I mean? Because there's so many tanks and filters and pumps and all this stuff. He just came off a 22-night stint, 12-hour shifts. He took this week off. He's going back tomorrow. I think he's got 2 weeks that he's got to work every night until the girl that he's training is qualified to run the system, and then he'll go back to his rotating schedule. But yeah, 22 nights in a row, 12-hour shifts.
I used to work on the offshore on the boats. It was 28 days on, and I would work the night shift midnight to noon, and 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 28 days.
Yeah, he was for a minute there. He was like only getting Sundays off, and like he'd have to be to work at like clocked in at like 6 a.m, and he wouldn't be getting off until like sometimes 10 o'clock at night, and having to turn back around and be back at 6 again. Like it was bad. And then he just told us today too that he almost died 3 times because of equipment failure, because OSHA, even though like, so South Carolina is one of the few states that isn't really under OSHA, but because Volvo is an international car company and it's not an American brand, that is the loophole, because they have to follow federal guidelines. So OSHA can be there to an extent, but they are not servicing their equipment and stuff, right? And they had him putting in an electric motor thing to one of the cars with a lift that was not rated for it, and the lift almost fell on top of him and the motor almost crushed him. He said that it was God alone and him moving, and it got his shoulder instead that kept him from being crushed. And then I guess a similar thing happened to him like a second time, and then he was doing something else with another lift of some sort that came almost crashing down on him. And then one of the belts from the other lines broke and almost swung like a big huge piece of the car into him. And so today he said, I will be so happy when I'm completely done with them and can just go away and go to my apprenticeship.
Yeah. Oh, I don't blame him. Yeah. I know how that feels. Like when I was in the police academy, I had to do 12 hours a day in the jail, and then 4 hours at night. So I'd have to be in the jail for 5:30, and it was go till I had to leave, and then they wouldn't let me leave on time. So I was late to the academy many times because the shift sergeant wouldn't let me leave. I was the only male on my shift. She said, "You have to stay till everyone's fed. You can't leave." I was getting in trouble, and then finally the sheriff had to step in. But like I had to drive an hour to the jail, work 12 hours. Go to the police academy for 4 hours, sometimes till 11 o'clock at night, drive an hour back home, sleep 2 hours, and drive back to the jail in the morning.
Oh, no. That's unsafe for everyone around you.
That was 4.5 months. Yeah.
Mm-mm. That's how I think Matt's company, like you were saying, because they're Malaysian based, they don't have to follow, so he can work there. I mean, they're open 3. If something went wrong there, they have the chemicals that would probably level the whole entire town. So I get that they have to have somebody on all the time, 365. It's like a doctor, you know what I mean?
Right.
But they don't have to follow. He can work 22 days. He can't complain to anybody about it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes when you're working a job that you can pretty much work unlimited hours, it's great. But then at the same time, it's not so much, because that you end up with more risk of injuries and stuff like that, especially if you're requiring your people to do it and demanding it. You know, like in Oregon, you have a certain limit. Like OSHA will make it to where there's like a certain limit of overtime that they are allowed to require you, and then beyond that, it's your choice. And so then, like, they can ask you, but you can say no, and they can't really do anything.
You can say no, but they make you feel guilty into saying yes.
They do. But if you do tell them no, they can't do anything. They can't like give you any kind of repercussions and try to fire you, but they'll still try to make you feel really bad for not doing it.
They'll fire you, but they'll find some stupid reason and say this is why. Like, dude, no, that was never a thing. I got fired for reasons like that.
Kind of like we have a family member that was in the police department over here, and today my mom noticed that he had all his facial hair and stuff, and he hadn't had it before. And so my mom asked, like, well, are you still part of the department? And he said no. And they decided to fire him because he usually was like, during the holidays, he was like their like secret duck kind of person. And so he was like the plainclothes officer person, and he would always take all the holiday photos and stuff. But they fired him because he took photos in plain clothes. But that's what he did every year.
They do like so. Louisiana's an at-will state. You're
here too.
You're working at your own will and at their will. Yeah. And like if I go and I blow the lid off of something, or if I do like you said, refuse overtime, whether that's beyond that time, they can just say, oh, well, why'd you fire him? We didn't want to. We just time to let him go.
Yep, we wanted to.
They can do that and get away with it. Yep. Yeah,
that's how it is here in South Carolina too.
I hate that so much.
I don't know how it is in Massachusetts, but when I got my last job working for the town, there was like we had a 90-day, 90 or 100. I know, I think it was maybe 180 days where they could let us go for no reason at all.
The probation period.
Probation, yeah.
Yeah, they have that here too.
Which is crazy. I've heard of 60 days, stuff like that, but I was like, damn.
Yeah. It could go up to a year.
Crazy.
And the sad thing too about that too with the at will is, like, if they do fire you for whatever reason they want to fire you for, it still impacts you with your next job, because then they say God knows what to them on why they fired you or whatever. And so it's like this horrible catch-22 cycle that like makes it to where it's like, oh well, they were a bad employee, but you might not have actually been, like in the case of my uncle or cousin, whatever he is to me, that was part of the force here, Oh, well,
legally they cannot do that.
Technically they're not supposed to, no, but they still do.
They do it. They do it under the table or like verbally where you can't prove it. Like I won't say what job I had, but I'm blacklisted from that profession or that type of business now because I wasn't a yes man. I would speak out. I would say this is stupid. I'd be fair. Be like, maybe we should look at this. After months go by and hearing other people complaining, seeing other people in bad situations, I would say this is stupid. People are almost getting hurt. People are getting hurt. We need to look into this. And I wasn't a yes man. I rocked the boat. I'd been there for a very long time. So I was like, shit, I'm gonna take it upon myself to speak for these people. No one else is.
I'm the same way.
So now I tried getting a job in that same area, that same type of job, and I was told, dude, you on an unofficial blacklist.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I will speak up.
I sued my town.
Something's right.
You won?
Yep, I sued my town and won. But in the contract that I had to sign, I am no longer hireable in said town. They did have to put it in writing. I did get a good recommendation letter. So they already wrote that, which I have, you know what I mean, if I ever need it. But yeah, I definitely I got myself blacklisted from the town that I live in.
You're so horrible. They're
It
like,
makes it
this
interesting.
bitch can't just,
Most
this
of the
bitch can be
people
hired
that
at
I
all.
work with, yeah, it literally says in there that I am not hireable in the town. I'm like, I wonder if I lost, would I be able to? But since I won, they're like, yeah, no.
Well, and too, that makes it interesting too, because you sued them, so it's public record, and so then you have that name come up of what you used to do on your resume or whatever,
They
and
settled
then
outside.
they
We didn't. Yeah, we didn't get
wow.
to the courts per se. We did settle it outside. I
With
technically think
mediation.
it's in my contract that I signed that I'm not supposed to tell anyone that I sued them. I don't give a shit.
That can come back and bite you, yeah, for real.
I know, but everybody already knows. All the guys I
used to
worked with knew. You know what I mean?
I used to work
They have
as a
bigger fish to fry
caregiver
right
a
now.
lot. For years, I was in the caregiving field, working in the facilities and whatnot. And one of them, I went toe to toe with the owner because the way that they were treating the residents of the place and the workload that they were giving onto the people, because a lot of these people, they had horrible grand mal seizures and things like that, and that and then they were not mobile. They couldn't really, they were quadriplegic, couldn't actually feed themselves and different things like that. And so they would put like 10 people like that to a caregiver and expect you to be able to do all this stuff in a certain amount of time with them, which like made you have to rush through, and these people weren't being treated like people, and a lot of them didn't have family that would really come and visit and whatever. And I went toe to toe with her and told her, like, because I knew the laws, and they were putting too many people to a person. And I told her flat out, like, I will turn you in, like, I will turn you in for this, like. And so she said, I think it'd be best if you found a different job. And I said, that's fine. I'll find one within a day, because you might not like it, but all these residents say that I'm the best caregiver there is. So, and I did. I found another job the next day.
The biggest fear employees
have. But
yeah, the biggest fear an employer has is a person who knows the law.
But they got in trouble because I called and I turned them in to the state licensing board for what they were doing, and they got big fines. Meanwhile, the job I ended up with, I got paid even more.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm the same way. I won't do it. And my morals, like, I have such a high set of morals, ethics, and values that I will not stay with a company if I feel like it's compromising my morals, values, and ethics. I won't. I'll speak up and I'll say something. And if they don't fix it, I'll leave. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to compromise who I am for a job. I'm sorry. Your money's not worth it. And that's why my family says I would just make a better business owner than employee.
Yeah. What, Gina?
When's that movie coming out?
I don't know. It's in post-production. So that means they're editing it. I don't think there's much in the way of CG or anything. So yeah, I don't think there's any.
It's a cop movie, right?
No. It's a movie about a reporter that takes on underground crime in 2007. I don't know how I'm trying to think of what details I can give without that's not
It's
violating
the
anything.
one you were talking about though, with Sean on his show
Yes.
that you play a cop in, right?
Yeah, I played a SWAT team member at the end of the movie. The
Nice.
very end.
He had to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down a million stairs. I would have died.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a
I
normal
would have died.
staircase,
I would have
right? Normal staircases, you know, they're kind of like angled, right? They're on a very decent angle.
Yeah.
This was a
Right.
house built probably 100 years ago, if not longer. So the stairs are like this,
Oh
more
man.
vertical. So you know, normally you can
Almost
put
like
your whole,
a fire
Oh
escape.
no.
you can almost put your whole foot on a. You can put your whole foot on a step. You can only put about half your foot on the step. So it was like, son of a bitch! I'm carrying 230
Oh,
pounds
man.
plus 45 pounds of police gear plus a rifle. So it was like, yeah, I was close to 300 pounds climbing up the stairs. Yeah,
Man, oh man.
I
it's
would have quit.
when the details come out about the movie, when more details can be released, you will know the reporter. They're a very popular reporter who caught people trying to do stuff to kids.
Got it.
I don't know if that gives it. I don't know if that gives it
Yeah,
away.
it
Okay.
kind of.
How the show. It's about how the show just like ended suddenly because a person of interest did something to themselves on
Right.
video, and that just ended the show. It's about that, and it's about the reporter who went and his journey to try and help save children.
Right. It
So
almost
they're all-
sounds like something that being an investor and a guild member for Angel, I might have to
Yeah.
view.
I would. I would. I only got to
it
see
sounds like something they'll put in front of us to
Yeah.
bring to production.
I only got to see the end of the. It's an A24 movie. I only got to see the final set because that's where I was. But the only part that just didn't sit with that I had to be explained to me. I still don't quite get it. Is the reporter would see wolves, and there's a person in a costume with like a big head with like red glowing eyes. It's just something the reporter's seeing. So yeah, that part had to be explained to me. I still didn't really 100% get it, but yeah.
I kind of like, to me, seeing that the symbology to me would signify that that the reporter's seeing the evil and like
Right.
wolves in sheep's clothing.
Right. Well, what confused me was where the scenes I saw filmed didn't make sense till the final scene.
Right.
It's where the suspect was.
Right.
I'm like, okay,
Is that why they
what was
always
explained to
film
me
it
all
in
falls into
different
place now.
sequences?
Yes.
Is that why they film it in different? Like it's not straight through. They do different things all the time.
No, many things can change that. Weather, time of day. Like we filmed the scene. Actually, most of the scenes I filmed were all in sequence. They were almost all in sequence.
Okay.
Only one part we filmed was filmed in the middle, but it's going to come towards the end. But we had to do it because it was timing purposes. Like, hey, we can't do the end. We can't do the scenes before this till it gets dark outside. So let's go ahead and just film the interior scenes right now.
Yeah, I think it depends because
That makes sense, and I'm assuming too if there's like
I helped with
if there's like
effects
flashbacks or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that?
I helped years back. I had, when I was married to my youngest dad, we had some friends, and he was going to film school, but he had a independent film company, and so I helped with special effects for a horror film that they were making, and they had to film out of sequence because of different scenes being at different types of times a day and things like that. So they filmed out of sequence and a lot, and then you have to edit it all together later.
And there's some directors that they will only film in sequence, so it makes a shoot last longer. Because like they don't get the shot they want, They have to wait till
You
the
have to
next
start over.
day or 2 days later before they can move on. Like, hey, we get 2 days, we're doing nothing. No, I want in sequence. So, I mean, it's a preference. But look, I had a fucking blast. I'm checking my casting file every day for new stuff because man, I had a fucking blast. I met 6 people who were cool as shit. One dude works for the he works for the government. He does movies on the side. He works for the Department of Agriculture. He's like, hey man, look, anytime you want to bring your kids to come look at a bunch of STEM stuff, give me a call. Come check it out. Like they're doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah, doing all kinds of stuff. I met one guy who works at the shipyard that builds the Coast Guard cutters. He's like, look, give me a resume. I'll see about getting you a job here in the office. So like, I met a bunch of people, some other cops, some military people. And yeah, and it was really cool. It was a cool experience. I'm really hoping to find something again because it was really fun. The whole entire thing was fun.
Now you had to travel. How did you find this?
So a few years ago, a buddy of mine. Did y'all see the movie Carry On Netflix? The guy from The Kingsman, Taron Egerton. He plays a TSA agent at a Los Angeles airport, but they filmed in New Orleans. A buddy of mine was one of the cops in the movie, and he was like, "Dude." I knew him from like when we worked together at a hospital. He's like, "Look, man, just come on, man. Make an account, fill this out, and just do it." I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I did it and heard nothing. Then a couple years go by, and I got an email saying, "Hey, we saw what you know, what you've done. You've done police work. We saw you the director. We showed him your headshot, and I took a personal picture with my phone. We showed him the pictures. He wants you as one of the background SWAT team." Like, oh, cool, yeah, sure, why not? Cleared it with the wife, cleared it with the get babysitters for the kids, and I took it.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
What account did he have you create?
It was a My Casting File, mycastingfile.com. Go there and you can fill it out, and you put the towns you can work in, and anything that pops up in those towns, it'll send you open casting calls, and you could sign up for them, or send in your screen. It's usually like send an email of your picture and your details.
Yeah, I think when I was
love
younger,
to be an extra. That would be so fun.
I think I filled one of those out when I was younger because I have a friend that I grew up with that I went to school with, and she's done a lot of stuff in movies, like as extras and stuff like that, because she was going for in modeling and whatever, and she encouraged me to because of being in advanced drama classes and stuff when I was in high school and when I first started college and stuff. But then I kind of just never bothered to like check into it. Like I filled out the profile, but didn't really try to apply for anything.
I totally want to do it now. Now I just have to figure out the outlet on how to do it.
You should.
I kind of want to, especially being by Charleston and stuff, because like I already know like there's a lot of stuff that gets filmed around Charleston.
I'm sure there's like a Boston casting call or something. Yeah. There has to be a Boston casting call.
I just put the link in the private chat. Go check it out. You can do it. It's free. It's free. You can pay to have it. You have an account. It pushes your account pushes your thing above other people. But from what I understand, once you get in, you do a movie or a show or whatever, and you don't fuck up, you don't piss anybody off, they tend to like put you in a pool where they'll come to you first before they go to the open casting calls.
Yeah.
It's like open casting is usually when you get to a point where they're like, look, we can't fill these spots, put it out as an open call. And so yeah, I mean, I like a couple of people I did the show with had like one of them, the chick on the SWAT team had done Mayfair Witches episodes. She did NCIS episodes. Cool. She did, I think, CSI New Orleans episodes, or NCIS New Orleans. The guy who still worked with us on the last day is like, yeah, man, he did the same episode, Mayfair Witches, as the chick, and they realized it on set. He's like, yeah, I did this. She's like, I was the coroner's assistant because that's what she does in real life. And he's like, yeah, I was this guy. Like, oh, I remember you now. And they remember each other from being on set. It's been a few years.
And yours is an actual like full length movie. It's not like a
It's a
TV
movie, yeah.
show episode.
No, it's a movie. It's a movie, yeah. Robert Pattinson plays the reporter. That's actually on IMDb, so I can say that. There's a
I was gonna say
comedian,
I'm going right now to IMBD.
DB.
Robert.
IMDb.
Yeah, he's it's in his upcoming projects. They're adding new people every day to that. So once I guess it's added there.
Are you gonna get to have an IMDb?
I actually do have one. I actually do have one now. From Emerald's Drunken Emerald's insert title here. He has the show posted on IMDb, and I'm listed there as producer, actor, I think, and I forget what else.
Oh wow! I didn't know he had it.
Yeah, he has one. He did one.
I didn't even know that's possible for podcasts.
Yeah, if it's aired somewhere, you can make a thing. It's kind of like Wikipedia. Anybody can edit anything.
Oh,
I see it. Primetime crime thriller. Director Lance Oppenheim.
Yeah, that dude's small too. I felt like I was gonna break him. He's a little dude. They have some.
Matthew Mayer, Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah.
Jay Kwan.
I can't remember the name of the, I guess, producer. She plays the producer of the TV show. She's apparently in a lot of stuff. I can't remember her name. She's in a lot of stuff too.
The producer?
Yeah, well, she plays the producer
of
the TV show. Like Matt Mahers is the director, I think, of the TV show. He plays the director. He plays something. And yeah.
Oh yeah. I haven't done any.
So there's Brittany Steele. She's the Dateline producer.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh yeah,
here's your cool experience. It was a cool experience. I would definitely do it again.
I have theater acting experience. A lot of it, yeah.
I've got none, but I'm a very animated person and very outgoing person. And I don't know, I guess
No, you're not, Darnell. Don't lie to the people.
Theater acting too is different because it like you kind of, especially like Shakespeare, like I did a lot of Shakespearean acting, and it's almost like having to learn a whole entire new language because there's a lot more components to it that are more like similar to music and singing, because you have to be able to project your voice out so that it fills out for the audience in the back of the room, doesn't lose the context of what's being said and can hear it. So you have to be a lot more animated and stuff too, in your movements and stuff. So it's a lot different. Whereas like I did a little bit of like helping, in little small parts for the independent, my friend's independent film. And it felt like I could just be more natural when it's on a camera.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah.
I wonder how I would do. Me and Sean just recorded our outro. I'm excited for that to come out. That was fun. Voiceover work is fun.
It is, yeah. I'm gonna be doing something.
That's fun
for Mr. Burger for once they start that up again. I have a small bouncer part. I'm gonna be voice acting for, and it's fun.
See, that's one of the things that I had thought about, because for some reason I had it come up on my Facebook, and I don't even know why, because I hadn't looked up. Hey, I know, Scott. But I hadn't talked about anything related to acting or anything, but it brought up a thing for voice acting, and I was like, well, this is weird. Like, why are you bringing up voice acting to me? So the only thing I can think of is maybe because because you're right, they do listen, maybe because of like hearing about podcasting and stuff like that. I was like, oh, you should be a voice actor.
Yeah.
This might interest you.
Hey, make sure you hit me up. You can find me at Mom's Mystery and Mayhem.
Right?
Oh, just plug myself. Hello, Mr.
That's what they need to do.
Ours are clip that. Ours are clip that. Ours are clip that.
They listen. They should just automatically give all of our podcasts some free like boosts and advertising and stuff. Like show it to other people. Oh, you watch this? You watch this? You would like this.
Darno, what did I just say? That you're gonna clip?
I just plugged myself.
Ours is gonna love that one.
25.
Just put a whole fucking clip of myself, like a whole 15-minute movie of just Gina clips. It's gonna be embarrassing. And
Most of these are yours.
Hilarious.
Most of these are yours.
What is that list?
It's my clickable list.
So the Sean show, the last 2 nights, I put in timestamps for ours to clip out for ours to clip out.
Oh, to clip out.
Yeah. Well, look, I just went on the casting thing. I missed out. There's one tomorrow in Biloxi for rough-looking drug addict, habitual criminal types. I can look like I'm on something. To just stand like in the background,
you
waiting for your trial. Yeah. So I missed out on that. If I saw it a couple days ago, I could have taken it and gone to work tomorrow. Now,
do you pay for it? I was just poking around.
No,
do you do the free one, or do you do?
I do free. Yeah, this is $100 for 10 hours of work, just standing around. And then in Dallas, April 25th, they need people 30 to 50 years old, $300 a day for 10 hours. You can get some really good paying gigs.
Can even register your children.
Yep. Plus, they pay you like you go somewhere, you get on a little shuttle, they drive you to the set, to wardrobe, you do wardrobe, and oftentimes the food's in the same place. Like, you go to the set, when they call lunch, they bring you back to the wardrobe area, and then there's lunch. Everything's all laid out for you. You get a catering company. If you get a decent production. If you get like a shit production, they'll put like fucking Pop-Tarts and like stale bread. That's one of the guys saying he did a shoot, and they gave him like packs of peanuts, and that was it.
For being there like 10 hours?
Yeah. Or 12. It was a 12-hour day. And they gave him like peanuts or some stale shit to eat. And it was like, dude, he left, went to a gas station, got some food, and went back. That's
really
cool. Like on set,
if that's a possibility, you just come prepared just in case.
Well, that's what
lunch.
Since then, he brings a backpack of snacks. But on set, there's again, if it's a good production, there's like water everywhere, apples, cookies, sugar stuff to keep your blood sugar up and stuff. There's all kinds of stuff.
My son's a diabetic. That's very important. I never would have thought of those things until I had a son with diabetes.
Yeah.
Gina, my 19-year-old was pre-diabetic, and he was telling me that he just did this diet for like a month where he has a coworker that has a small farm, and the coworker, so for $50, his coworker you can get these little, what he calls care packages that come with some fresh beef and a dozen eggs, and then like whatever vegetables and fruits that he's been able to grow during, depending on the season or whatever. And it's like enough for like a week's worth of food. And he just went on this diet where he literally pretty much all he did was drink water, and then he ate steak and eggs. And there's so many different kinds. He said that he got tested, and they removed him from the pre-diabetic now.
A guy, a guy I used to work with he was diabetic, and he got his diet under control. Not diabetic anymore.
So there's 3 different types of diabetes. There's type 1, type 2,
1,
and believe
2,
it or
and
not,
3.
there's a type 1.5. There's a 1.5. So 1, 1.5, and 2.
My
His
mom's got 2.
pancreas is completely done. More research that I've done, they're finding that certain illnesses that they get. He had hand, foot, and mouth disease or fifth disease, whatever it's called. And they're finding what happens is after that happens, for some reason, your body thinks that your insulin cells that your pancreas produces, what happens is your body's like, oh, it mimics whatever that bad virus was. So when your body is producing those cells, those insulin cells to bring your insulin down, it thinks it's the virus that you had and it just attacks it. So there is no coming back for that. There are certain things that you can do, like cinnamon, believe it or not. Cinnamon helps kind of level out his blood sugar, but he still needs that insulin to bring that sugar down. Because his body just doesn't produce it, or it produces it, but the body attacks it. So a lot of people don't know too that type 1 also is an autoimmune deficiency. So it's kind of like celiac. It's kind of like that. Yeah. So for him, there's no coming back, but your 1.5s, those are kind of borderlines. But yeah, a lot of them, like your type 2, like your borderline, which means your A1C is right around 6. They'll like, after 6, I think it's like 6.6 to 7, you're considered borderline. Over 7, you're diabetic.
Yeah, and he
so
was
if it's
type 2.
Diet, exercise, medications, type 2, you can kind of control with food, exercise, different supplements, like I said, with cinnamon, stuff like that. But type 1, his pancreas there's no coming back.
Right.
Yeah. My oldest son had hands, foot, and mouth when he was like 1, and thankfully it didn't happen to him, because they said it could have been a possibility.
See, I got lucky with my kids because none of mine actually got any kinds of things like that. Like the worst problem I had was my daughter, my oldest, that's almost, getting close to her 30s. She always had chronic strep throat all the time. So, but that was like the worst that we really had for any of ours. I mean, other than like my youngest son, he was born deaf, and he's also got a rare condition with his eyes that's more common in canines and horses. So he's got what's I forget the name of it now.
I don't remember.
Monochromatism. So like if you looked at his eyes, he's got like his eyes are blue mostly, but then like there's a certain little spot in each of them that it's brown. So he's got dual colored eyes.
Okay.
And so they think that like his being deaf, and then like for a long time he's been healed now, but that's a miracle by God. But he used to have a really weak immune system where it would become a life or death situation. And they think all of those 3 things like play together to something like more with him, because like there's only like with his eyes, there's only like 1% of the human population that's like that with the monochromatism. So, but yeah, he's like my most like he came up with the most like different like weird, idiosyncrasy type things compared to all my other kids. But like other than that, like my youngest daughter is dyslexic, but like they didn't really get sick or anything really.
I'm filling out this thing, and it says, "Are you willing to cut your hair for your role?"
No.
You could say no. You could say no. You don't have to say yes.
Not you, not you,
question.
not you, and no, you're not cutting off your feet either and selling them.
I
small enough. No,
I did
no
yes for hair.
feet.
I did yes for hair and beard, and I actually am fine with nudity, but I'm not fine with any kind of love scene. I'm fine being naked, but I don't want to be in a love scene. I don't feel it's fair to my spouse.
That makes sense.
Now, 10 years ago, I thought it was completely fine, acceptable. I still kind of do, but I personally wouldn't want to do it to her.
Yeah, it's whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, like I'm still comfortable with it, but I know how she feels, and I completely respect how she feels, and I wouldn't want to do it with
You
her in
don't
that
want to
situation.
cross lines that would cause problems with
Correct.
your marriage because
Exactly.
that's your
Yeah.
family.
Exactly. There's an actor in Hollywood named.
No, finish your story. I have a question on this question.
There's an actor, Neil McDonough, who refuses to do any love scenes and refuses to kiss anybody because he is Catholic and Christian. He will not do it to his wife.
There's
He said,
actually quite a few.
yeah, he said he has lost a lot of roles because he refuses to kiss. He has gotten into yelling matches with directors who decided a kiss was necessary after he took the job. And he said if it hadn't been like so much of the movie filmed, then they probably would have fired me. He will not do it.
Yeah, there's a lot actually that are like that when it comes to their religious beliefs. Like if they're ones that are more open about their beliefs. In fact, there's a lot that have started leaving and going and doing more work with like Angel Studios because they are more respected for their beliefs there than Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because like I forget his name now, but there's another one that's like that too, and he's done a lot of stuff. Like he's played in all the God's Not Dead movies and stuff.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, my daughter, I need to turn her feed on. She has a G tube. I'll be right back in like 30 seconds, a minute.
Okay.
Take your time. Take your time.
Well, be a daddy.
Yeah, some of these questions are interesting. I know. I can't, like I said,
we know. We
out here playing. Yeah. So, what are you doing, kiddo? Nothing. There's the oldest one. I don't know why he's not sleeping. He got an early day tomorrow.
I know. I had to
just got bright
myself on
Katie,
turn my camera off for a second because my oldest called me.
Katie, hop in. You got the link. Come say hi. We're just hanging out.
Hi,
Katie. It's like going to the bar without going to the bar. You know what I mean? Come pull up a chair.
Right. Is that your grandma? Is that your granny that was just laughing? You.
No, I didn't.
Oh, it might be.
There's nothing going on here. It's quiet here. It's definitely something where you are.
No.
Or Darnell.
I think it's Darnell in his background.
It could be. Katie Milkers. It just got bright in here. Teabag. Katie, hop on. Come say hi. Even if it's just for a few minutes. Can't do it. Maybe she'll do it. Who knows? But the weather this week looks amazing here. Oh, my ear is itchy. I'm excited for that. I'm hoping I'm going to obviously have to bring her to the doctors tomorrow. I don't give my kids antibiotics usually, unless it's something like strep throat. You know what I mean? Something that could kill them. I try to let their body fight it off for a couple of days, and if it can't, same thing with an ear infection. That kind of stuff I'll treat and stuff like that. But
my daughter that had chronic strep throat, a lot of times what we would do with her was we just have her gargle with sea salt water.
Yep.
And
my little one though has a gag reflex that is horrible. It's even written in her school, notes. It's so funny. The nurse goes, "Yeah, she almost threw up in the entire sink." Like it's that bad. Yeah, she has so with her, I can get her to do like the ginger shots that I take. So it's got like ginger, turmeric. I think it's got like coconut water, something else. I don't know. It's like an immunity shot. I can get her to take those, which is good, even though they're spicy, and she'll do the honey. But I can't get her to gargle salt water. It won't work.
And like my kids, like, and now actually my son's fiance and her entire family, they started doing this now too, because she got it from me and figured out that it works. But when they get like the flu or a cold, I do a blend of garlic, turmeric, honey, and lemon, and then you can, if you can handle it, put cinnamon and also cayenne pepper in it. And it's a natural cough remedy that helps take away, because all of those different things have different natural antibiotic properties. So it takes and it kills it all. But like, I don't put the cinnamon in mine because I will die if I take cinnamon. I'm deadly allergic to cinnamon.
That's interesting.
So I don't do anything with cinnamon, and I can't handle like spice, so I don't put the cayenne pepper in mine. But and I use all fresh. So the garlic's fresh, the lemons are fresh squeezed lemon, the turmeric's fresh grated turmeric, and I put that in there. But that, like, pretty much 90% of the time knocks out almost any cold or flu bug within 24 hours max.
Mr. Scott, the type of salt that I use is Celtic salt. Okay, I'll go grab it so you can see it. I swear by it. My kids will come home and actually, believe it or not, now my Erin, she's prone to headaches because she forgets to drink her water a lot. And the school nurse now, instead of giving her Advil or offering her like, an over-the-counter prescription, she has a little bag of sea salt.
Yeah, sea salt.
Not sea salt, Celtic salt. The Celtic salt. I'll grab it, Mr. Scott, so you can see it. Hold on.
Yeah, because I've never heard of the Celtic salt.
Yeah, I've heard about salt for headaches too. I just use the table salt when I get if I don't want to have any Tylenol or anything near me. But I just go for the natural sea salt. Yeah,
especially Mediterranean.
Hello,
I get
Trapper.
massive.
So I didn't know about this. So I have a lot of heart palpitations. Yeah, I get a lot of heart palpitations. And I went to the cardiologist, and the cardiologist had me start. So every time I drink a bottle of water, I take a grain or two of this and I put it under my tongue instead of the Gatorades or those electrolyte stuff. And my heart palpitations are almost completely gone.
You don't have to do that. Just know I'm going to be.
This has all your vitamins and minerals in it.
No. Listen, just understand. I'm going to look like this no matter what, so you can control those palpitations. I'm calling myself attractive. When you know you're going to see me on stream, you get like, oh.
Yeah.
He's an actor now, so he's got the bod and everything.
Acting!
Trapper,
this makes you naturally attractive.
All the tears of the liberals.
Once you've been on film, you're just naturally attractive.
Oh, I wish it was that simple.
Oh,
me too.
So, what were your questions about the questions?
Oh, I think I figured them out. Right now, I'm trying to figure out where I'm willing to travel to.
Yes, you're willing to travel to see me.
There you go.
We need to really do a meetup. It would be a lot of fun.
I know a lot of people to
Realify meetup.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would be so much fun. We got to get Sean his passport though,
Right?
and then we can all meet up. It'll be so much fun.
Like look and see where everybody is like located, and then like find like the middle meeting like spot for everybody.
All the chat can come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll set a table up and sign pictures of myself.
Autographs! Free autographs!
I'll have to chase people down here. Just take this. I don't know you. Just take it. I'll pay you to take it.
Working nude? I don't know. That one might be tough.
I look
Smoking
funny
on
nude, so
camera?
that's why I said nude. That's why I said okay with it. I look funny.
I would not. Nobody wants to see what's under these clothes.
Me neither, but that's what makes it funny to me.
See, I think women are a little bit different. Table salt, no bueno. You use the French Celtic sea salt. Yeah, I don't know. This is light gray Celtic salt. And at first I was like, oh, this is weird. And now it's almost like if I don't have it, I'm like, oh, my water tastes different. Because you don't put it in your water. You put it under your tongue to absorb it first.
Mm-hmm.
And then you drink your water. Surrender salt? Did I say something in a funny accent again?
I didn't.
Just like, did you see his comment when I said qualified and he was like qualified?
And Gaelic, some Gaelic.
Celtic salt.
Garlic. Love garlic.
No, like in high school, I was the naked guy at parties. So like, that's just my thing. I'm fine with it. I don't care. I have no shame. I don't care what ugliness you see. It's fine.
Well, see, I used to be like that before I converted to Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, no, I'm too, I don't even like I used to dress really like skimpy even. Mm-hmm. And like now, like even like I won't even put on like a 2-piece bathing suit to go to the beach anymore. Yeah. But I'm also, halfway through my 40s now. Yeah. I've got a mom bod because I've got 5. I mean, I don't look like I might have a mom bod, but I got a little tummy pouch because of, having 5 babies.
Listen, and I have a mom pouch. I have 3 kids and I got to get rid of it somehow.
And trust me, it don't matter how much workout you do. It doesn't go away.
Teabag, yes, I did tuck. Sometimes I did tuck. I did do the tuck. Sometimes I didn't. It all depended how I felt.
But yeah, I just am more like conservative now. Stay covered.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. What's funny is I was naked more when I was Catholic than I am now. Than I was since I stopped being Catholic. So like actually, I was naked so often that one of my buddies said you should try and sue Blink-182 for stealing your move for their videos that you were naked in. Because this was before then. I was naked all the time, and like all the fucking time. It got to the point where like my good friends they staged an intervention, and they told me, they said, "Listen, we're not cool with this anymore. Our girlfriends are seeing you more than us naked. So that sounds like a you problem, not me." But I understood. And I kind of like cut it back for a while.
I remember like too, like when I was in high school, like me and my friends, we just like decide like when we'd meet up, we'd be like, oh, I like your pants. Oh, I like your shirt. And we just like start changing right in the middle of the road. Like we didn't care. And like, I remember it used to make my friend Jenny's dad so mad. And he'd be like, you girls in the house now. And we'd be like, sorry, we gotta go. And we're running down the road, like pulling up our pants. And he just was like, oh, whatever with these kids. I can't deal with these girls.
What would be considered precision driving experience?
You don't have that. Like
I can't drive a race car now.
No. Like emergency vehicle, like police training, evoc training.
I actually, believe it or not,
the only thing I know how to do is drive a plow truck.
We're just talking.
I drive a plow truck. And standard.
That's
I
a big
had
deal
to
too.
take police driving training
Mm-hmm.
to be able to drive, believe it or not, to be able to drive one of the little short buses
That's
for
crazy.
disabled wheelchair van for one of my old caregiving jobs that I had, so that their company insurance would be able to insure us.
That is nuts. That's
Yeah.
cool,
So
but it's
like
nuts.
I know how to disable like a car at high speed on the freeway and by the side swipe checks and all of that.
Yeah. So like, yeah, the course, like it's like 2 days, and they teach you this course in sections.
Yep.
And then when you get to the last day, they put it all together. You got to do
Yep.
the slalom, reverse.
Yep.
My favorite part is like this fast reverse. Like you have to like back into a parking spot and not touch a cone. Like back in and pull out really fast. I love that part.
But you know too, I'm actually glad too that I got to take that and have that experience, because like it actually has come in handy and saved my life in some horrible wrecks before, because like growing up in Oregon where I grew up, we had a lot of deer. I mean, like certain roads
Same here.
here
Same
have
here.
it here,
Same
but
here.
like
Everywhere.
there was one time that there was like a big dead deer in the middle of the road, and this particular road, like I sped on, but I had a 4x4 Dodge Ram with a 6-inch lift on it, you know, because I'm a country girl, and I was speeding along, like it's like that road's like 55, but I was doing like 80. And so this deer comes, and at first I didn't know that it was a deer. I thought, because it just looked like a black trash bag that had fallen out. And so I just kept going, and I hit that thing, and I took all 4 tires off the ground. My 19-year-old was in the car with me, and my oldest daughter was like coming through the phone on the speaker system in the truck, and my son's just like, oh my god, that was epic, mom just, and my daughter's like, what's going on? And he's like, mom just jumped a deer and like it was nothing and landed perfectly back on the road and kept going, like damn, miss a beat, no swerving, no nothing. But like there was this other time that like I was gonna hit the deer, like because it was, you know, I just saw the deer, but then at the last minute, like I noticed that it had a baby. And so I'm like, oh man, I'm not gonna let a baby be motherless. So like I swerved at the last second, even though you're not technically supposed to swerve, you just might as well hit them. And then there's this other baby, and she ended up having twins, and somehow like credit card hair, like in between, I slide between these 2 babies, miss all of them. And my son was just like, how can you drive like this? He's like, this is like epic. Like I want to know how to drive like this. Like I got the best mom ever. I'm gonna be the best driver when I'm old enough to drive, because my mom's an awesome driver. But yeah, it was crazy. So I mean, but like if I wouldn't have had those skills, like those skills came into handy to help be able to avoid those wrecks and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
But I tell you what, one time I had a deer. I was in an old 70s Chevy Nova that I had. And the guy I was dating had his little tiny Datsun pickup truck following behind me. We just changed the gas pan on the Nova. And we're cruising along, and a big 4-point buck jumps out in front of me. And I'm like, I'm just hitting it, right? Yeah. And I sped up, and my ex behind me, he's like, what in the hell is she doing? And I hit that thing at like 85 miles an hour. All he said that he saw was this big huge buck come flying up over the top of my Nova, and he said that if it wasn't for the fact that the deer was so big, he could have like caught it in his truck, but he had to like go and speed up to be able to not get crushed by this deer that was flying. He said that I shot that thing like 15 feet up in the air. And then of course I'm crying like in hysterics, like, we got to go back. We got to make sure it's dead. We got to make sure it's dead. And he's like, you don't understand. He's like, that thing is going to look like a semi smashed it. You launched it so far up in the air. You hit it that hard. But that Nova, all it did was break the headlight.
Dude, Novas were fucking sturdy. But cars in the 70s were sturdy. It was still made of steel.
Yeah, exactly. And like, my mom was like, well, you did what? And he's like, yeah, if I would have had a cell phone, I would have videotaped it. But he's like, we don't have videotape capabilities.
So, Mr. Scott wants to know, have any of us done genetic methylation testing? It will tell you what deficiency you may have, like vitamin D conversion, availability, B vitamin conversion, and 3 dozen other deficiencies. I have not.
I have not.
But,
no.
But I'm very interested in what that means and how I could get it, but I'm sure it costs money. I think I froze because everything's being silly.
Yeah, you did. You're good now.
Yeah, I've never heard of it either. And no, I haven't had it. I try to avoid going to any doctors or anything.
Yeah, and then
Kravitz
wants to know, Joyce, were you in EO?
In EO.
East Oregon?
Yes. No, I was not in Eastern Oregon, but I did live there for like a month, but no, I was not. I was an hour south of Eugene and 3 hours from Portland. So I was more middle central Oregon.
You have to eat thousands of units. My son, one of the unfortunate side effects of and what they find is people with diabetes have a huge issue with vitamin D. So now he's on an 8-week regimen, doing 50,000 BTUs once a week, and my kid's outside all the time. So it has to do definitely with something, the way the body does something with the insulin, I'm assuming, because no matter, like I said, he is outside consistently all the time.
And to further answer you, Kravitz, I was very active in the political arena and went to a lot of patriot rallies to try to stand up against the garbage in Oregon.
So ridiculous.
I know, it's making me hungry. I'm about to go get myself a damn cookie.
I got some
I
peanut
have
butter
a
and
scar right
jelly
here on my cheek from it.
Damn.
Point blank range pepper ball to the face.
Oh.
Jesus.
Yep.
No, thank you. I'm going to go get a cookie. Darnell's making me hungry. Hold on.
I have peanut butter and jelly M&Ms.
Yep. They almost tried to make me a J6er because of it.
Wow.
I was on a terrorist watch list for a while. And the sad thing is I never even went to DC. But because of all the people I knew, they just assumed that I knew stuff about DC. I'm like, yeah. My mom also, because of it, she got put on a no-fly zone list. She couldn't fly. She didn't know why. And then she was like, wait a minute, it's because of my daughter.
What did you do? The hell did you do?
Yeah. Yeah, that was good times. Good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
I was always a very well-behaved person.
I was
I didn't.
too for a while until God got a hold of me and my whole life started going upside down and I started coming awake to everything and all the garbage that was going on. And then so for a while there, I was like, yeah, no, we got to fight this.
Yeah.
Not going to go down communist. How's that fighting first? Then live on my knees. So
it really is that bad over there, right?
yeah, it is.
No, Theo
said-
and Emerald live in Washington, and they say it's bad.
It's very, very, very bad there. Very bad. That's actually part of why I moved over here. That and also because the cost of living is like Oregon has like the third highest cost of living in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so being a single mom, it was like I couldn't hardly afford to live at all. So when my mom was, I was already like looking at other places, but like I was like looking more towards like Texas or Tennessee at first, like because that was where most of my draw was. But then when my mom said she was moving over here, I was like, and then my granddaughter, my aunt adopted my granddaughter. My oldest granddaughter, and so I was like, well, if you guys are going to move over there, then I guess I'll move over there too. So I did like a lot of research and stuff and was like, well, it's not too awful bad over there, so I'll go over there. And so yeah, but it made my better life for my kids, and my oldest has a better job than he would have ever had over there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's cool.
So yeah, but part of the reason I'm over here is because of the politics, for sure.
Oh yeah, I get it.
But cost of living is part of politics too. So
marshmallow. That's my safe word.
No, you don't have safe words.
This is like my
that is true, I guess.
weakness right now.
Only with Theo.
My weakness right there.
Those are so.
Yeah,
I like those with my chocolate chip cookies.
Okay.
Never tried that. Maybe I'll have to go.
I gotta have my salty and sweet
ice cream, my ice cream, and see how it tastes with my ice cream.
But I am one of those girls, if I'm hungry and then you feed me, I am at the table and I just do my happy dance.
I was thinking about that
Y'all
today.
are just witnessing us.
It depends on how hungry I am or what I'm eating and how long it's been since I've eaten it. And then I'll be like my son, he took me, my birthday was the 3rd, and my older son, he took me out to eat, just me and him, to spend mom and son time together. But we tried this new restaurant that we'd never been to before, and they do authentic island food, like Caribbean style, because we've got like a decent Caribbean like population over here. And so we went and tried that, and I used to be married to a Puerto Rican, so I love empanadas. And so they had empanadas. Unfortunately, I ended up not being able to eat their empanadas because they had cinnamon in them. But at first I was like doing my little happy dance, like, yeah, I'm gonna get empanadas. And then she's like, yeah, we have cinnamon in those.
See, I don't bring this stuff into the house. This is like a holiday thing. So I'm very excited to eat it.
Understandable.
Because things always taste better when you don't have to make them,
Oh no, I love making food. I love making
food.
And
like today I was doing
I like to cook
because I had just been on a binge for a week of not being able to have anything with leaven, so I was able to eat, my cakes and stuff again. So like
and your chips.
Yep.
Guys,
Happy
I see
days.
26 of you out there. Excuse me. Welcome in. This is your Easter extravaganza, unpacking our Easter day. And now we're just all hanging out, you know. It's like after dinner time, we're eating our desserts, dinner's done, kids are in bed. Make sure you smash that like, subscribe. Also follow Miss Coach Joyce. Joyce, go ahead, plug your channel.
I'm Coach Joyce, and I do biblical life coaching and help you find your God-given purpose that you were created for, and help you to align your life to your purpose that you were created for, and to be able to be rooted in your scriptures.
And Darnell has a few places you can find him and a new channel where he needs more subscribers.
Yes, I'll plug myself last on that one. Ours will clip that.
I'll plug myself last. That will go perfectly with my I plug myself.
Right?
We could have a little skit going on there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So I'll be on with Sean at on a pop and Mikey on a pop culture beatdown tomorrow night. Tuesday I hopefully will make it to Nerds Covering News with Drunken Emerald Arrow. Wednesday I will be on Daramouth's show. I forgot I scheduled it with him. He posted today.
I saw that today. I was very excited.
I forgot. So I'll be there 7 p.m. I think Central Time, God's time zone. And then I mean, if is Sean still doing the random stuff at night?
Yep.
Tuesday. I'll probably show up there. I'll probably show up there. Was it Wednesday and Thursday or Wednesday, Friday, whenever?
Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I'll be there probably Thursday and Friday. And maybe even Tuesday. Insert title here, Friday night. Actually, right before when I was coming from the shower to here, Toasty messaged asking if I'd be on her show soon. So I'm waiting for that date to be. Nice. I responded. I said, "Oh, is this what it's like to be asked to prom? Oh my god!" So I felt like the belle of the ball. Finally, you go to Rumble at Darnell Quigley. I have AI generated music. It's not, and I know I thought about this today. It's not like techno, or it actually has lyrics. The songs actually have substance. I'm gonna be moving the rest of the music from YouTube tonight. There's a couple covers. Baby Got Back. We have a country cover of that song. It's a 10-minute cover, but it's very good. It's a live cover actually. So yeah, you can find me there, and yeah, be on the lookout for Prime Time. Hit a Hollywood movie when it comes out later this year, I think.
Well, you're gonna have to either have your own channel and go on your own show and plug it, or you're gonna have to come on Sean's show and plug it, because you've been talking about it there all the time. So your pop culture beatdown, I think it is.
Yes.
You're gonna have to plug it there.
I want to schedule, like, you know how actors will go on like late night talk to to promote their movie. I want to see if I could schedule that for like a week with everybody, like be on different shows at night and do it that week.
I'd be down. Yeah. I totally have that. I'd do that.
I'm just starting to break into going on other people's shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's
Joyce,
fun.
I threw Trapper's comment up there.
Yeah, I saw that, and thank you. Yeah, thank you, Trapper. And if you haven't followed me, please do. And also, for anybody else that's out there listening that might be interested, that's a Christian, I'm also open to having people on as guests to share their testimonies and things like that as well. So just follow me at Coach Joyce Staff on X, and drop me a line in my DMs if you're interested in that. That's also where you can get some other information and stuff too, because I just finished I just recently finished a 12-week course that is on finding your life purpose, your true life purpose, and setting kingdom goals, so that it helps you to not only find and discover your actual true life purpose, but it also helps you to actually take action to put that into actual action to live it out in your life.
Nice.
I'm a certified master life coach, and I specialize in mindset and breaking fear. And I just do it from a scriptural, biblical standpoint rather than all the spiritual hoo-ha that other life coaches do. So, yeah. So pretty soon I'm going to be giving more information about that course, because it's getting ready to drop to be available and accessible to each other people. But it's a nice course. It's 12 weeks. It's got it broken down, each week's broken down to 5 days. And there's a video lesson for each day with a reading lesson. And then I also have a workbook that's like almost 300 pages, and there's different like actual exercises to help put things to get you into being able to take action on what you're learning, to apply it to your life, and the workbooks sectioned out to go with each day's lessons, through each week. So and then there's also a couple like devotionals that come with it as well, that you can get. And then you can also and right now on my channel, people who subscribe and either donate a subscription or become a subscriber, they get 6 sessions of personal coaching with me on it. So
nice.
Yeah,
it's a neat little bonus.
Yeah,
right. Cool. Trapper, Cass dropped the link above. That's the one, is why we can't just sit inside a church, testimonies and more. That was her live show she did yesterday with Chris from My Morning Mayhem. So if you just click on that, it'll bring you to her channel, and then you can just click follow and turn the notifications on.
Yep.
Also, I just want to put it out there one more time. I was Darnell's first follower.
She popped my cherry.
Awesome.
A month ago, and I wasn't even aware of it. That's how good she is. I only
have one follower, and I was like, "You only have one follower," and I was like, "Oh crap, let me go there and like do it." And I was like, "Oh, I am the one follower."
Well, she's so good. I had no idea she did it.
Well, I just started, so like my live feeds, because I had a different channel that I had started, but I was doing kind of like what Chris does, and I was doing just like pre-recorded Bible studies.
Yeah.
But I finally took action, because I'd had like even strangers that were coming up to me being like, God's been telling me that you're supposed to be a speaker. Like, have you ever thought about that? And I'm like, well, that's strange that you would ask, because I'm a certified master life coach. Like, that's what these bottom 5 certificates are on my wall, is from my life coaching training. But I'm like, that's weird, and then like, so finally, like, I kept getting like just impressed, like, you're supposed to do this, like, and so I finally just buckled down and did it. And Gina was like my little confidant on all the changes I was making.
Aww.
And whatever. And but like, I started out with like 15 followers, like when I did my first feed, because they had already pre-followed me because of Gina and Sean and Chris helping to like plug me before I started.
It takes a village.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a village.
Yep.
I always miss these things. What was this one?
She says, am I plugging her?
There's going to be a lot of plug talk going on in this episode. Jeez. Thanks, Trapper.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much, Trapper.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so and anybody who's been listening and stuff too, and if you listen to my channels, like, and even like on my my posts and stuff, I'm very much about the scripture and the scripture alone, like not my personal take and opinions on it. Like a lot of people, they want to twist and put their opinions of what it is, and I'm not like that. It's the Bible. The Bible translates itself. I don't need to do it.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even realize that we've been streaming for 3 hours. Look at us go.
I know.
Usually
I just that too. I guess you're going to be on a record. Record with
usually I do like an hour and a half. Oh my God.
That was insane.
Dude, we probably would have kept going. If we didn't run out of cards, we probably would have kept going. I don't know where or how we did it.
You need to find a booster pack for that game.
Oh, was that was the night you guys were doing
Never Have I Ever.
Cards the version, online version of Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, that one was awesome. Fun too. But the one was it last night or the night before? Dude, Sean sent it to me and he was like, here's the link. And I like click on it and it was like, never have I ever ... But Gina has. And I was like, son of a bitch.
I saw that.
I was like, that was good. That was good.
I saw your guys' Cards Against Humanity one.
That was a good one. That was fun.
That one was fun. I definitely want to do that again.
Still hurts.
There was some I was laughing in the chat more watching and it was more because of your reactions, Darnell, out of all of them for it. That I was just like dying. You were like dying and like just started cracking up like before things were even read. You're just like I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's so funny.
You could see them all. You knew like whose was who, and I was like, oh man. Some of them laughing. I had to pray for myself. I was like, oh no, this one's gonna get me in trouble. Like
there were some that I was praying for you guys in the chat. Like, oh my gosh, you guys are lucky you've got a coach.
I've got a friend and his
own personal
playing the blood of Jesus over you guys.
So I got a friend and his wife. She's very, she's very Catholic. She doesn't like a lot of my humor. Oh, we were playing one night at their house, Cards Against Humanity, and the black card was "What is there a lot of in heaven?" She and like when that card got played, she like you could see her face go white. I didn't play the card; she did. You can see her face go white.
When I tell you I have all of these fun games, Gina plays and has all of these fun games.
I have a huge box full of them. So. She plays this card, and she goes, I know I'm going to hell no matter what happens for the rest of my life. Her card was dead babies.
Oh no.
It ruined the game for the night because she just, like, killed everybody's mood because she was an ass about it. But...
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That would have been interesting. Hey, Fog. His day was quite good. He did a lot of cleaning, ate a bunch. I can't smoke pot, so I took valerian root all day. Nice.
Hey, Fog, dude.
The worst joke card.
Fog,
sick Fog.
CBDops.com. It's a company that you can get CBD oil or like capsules. It's no THC in it, but it'll give you all the benefits, like the calming effect and everything. You can still pass a drug test. It's like guaranteed no THC in it. You get all the benefits while being high. If that's something you're looking into, like you can't look into that. CBDops.com.
Oh, that's
which is great. Everybody should be taking anywhere from 5 to 10 milligrams of pure CBD in the morning. And if you have trouble sleeping, anywhere from 10 to 20 milligrams at bedtime. Huge benefits on your body.
I've been thinking about going back to the CBD part because I've been having a lot of problems with sleep lately.
The best thing
and it runs in my family.
Yeah, the dispensary, I do have these, but they do have straight CBD capsules. They're amazing. That, and it's not, why can't I, ashwagandha is a great
ashwagandha,
sleeping tool. Yeah, ashwagandha. Never do melatonin. It's the worst thing for you.
My dreams are fucked up.
Melatonin doesn't work for me anyway.
You can get capsules. I think they're 20 milligrams, 25 milligrams. The drops, I hate the drops because it tastes like fucking weed and I can't stand it. But they got the they also have coffee powders. You have a flavorless and French vanilla. They're 10 milligrams a pop. You pop in your coffee in the morning, stir it up.
Yep.
Yeah. Like
again, you can pass the drug test.
There's times like that I get like 2 hours of sleep. Like,
yeah.
And there's other times where like I won't, there's been several times where I've been up like over 24 hours, 48, like to between 24 and 36 hours straight because I'll go to bed and I'll try to sleep and I can't. So then I'm like, screw it. So I'll just get up and I'll start doing my schoolwork for the, you know, and working on my school classes. Like if I can't sleep, I might as well be productive. And so then I'll just go and I'll start, you know, seeing how I can annoy my anthropology professor for the day. And see what nasty emails he'll send me because of me opposing what they're teaching. And
hello.
You know, or I'll work on, you know, something related to my life coaching. Cause like right now I'm also starting to work on a 6-week course that's specifically just about overcoming fear. So I'll like just work on that. Cause it's like, if I can't sleep, I might as well be productive.
True.
Yep.
But like my grandma had the same problem. My mom's got it. My great aunt has
There's
it.
some sort of gene though. I think there's some sort of gene. I forget. I was looking it up something, but there are people who, when you say night owls, there are people that are genuinely just wired that way. You know what I mean? Like for me, nighttime for me is calming. I'm awake. During the day, if I go outside in the sun, believe it or not, no matter how much I love the sun in the daytime, the sun makes me tired. Right. It kind of like drains me a little bit. The nighttime is where I feel at peace. I feel alive. I feel connected to the earth. Like I'm backwards. Yeah, nighttime for me is my time.
For me, for our family, we get reversed. When the females get reversed when you start going through the change of life and your menopause and stuff like that. And so, yeah.
You know, I'm at that age where you guys from 1979 and 2002 hit on me. But I'm also in that age where I'm in that perimenopause bullshit that's completely obnoxious and annoying.
You know,
like, what is this? Like,
I get more young kids that are my 19-year-old son aged hitting on me wanting to try to get me to date them than I do people my own age.
Go for it.
I'm literally at that age where I can date the son or the father.
I'm like,
you said that.
Maybe the grandfather if I feel frisky.
Like I'm not dating you. I'm not dating a child. Like, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm really mature for my age. You are the same age as my child. I have children older than you. Like, I don't need
to teach new dogs old tricks. Like, I don't need to tell somebody what to do anymore.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't care if you are literally above 18 and it's legal or not. It's disgusting to me.
Exactly. But I can literally, I mean, I would never because it's gross, but I could literally date someone in their 20s, their 40s. And if I was feeling frisky, why not 60s? You know what I mean? It's only 20 years. Who knows?
Like, bring your daddy to me, and then me and your daddy can talk instead, okay?
Oh, Joyce dropping bombs.
Yep. I've reached a point in my life where I only get hit on by dudes. So.
Darn it.
That's another reason why I stopped using the dating apps too, Darnell, though, because I was getting not women, but I was getting men that were already attached, and them and their wife were like looking for a third person, and they would agree on, let's try her out. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm selfish, okay? Like, I don't share. I don't share.
How's it going, Mr.
Like,
Scott?
You guys do you, but I don't share.
Fire Island.
Oh, God. Dude, I love how when I bring up Teabag's messages, it says retard. Retard. Jeez.
Like, I wish you luck. I wish you luck. I hope you find what you guys are looking for, but it's not me.
I never hit that point where couples hitting on me. It was just the dudes. So like that's where I'm at now. Almost anywhere I go, I at least get one dude hitting on me.
I find when I'm out more, especially when I'm with my husband, it's more women that hit on me than anything. There are those few guys that try, but it's definitely more women.
I know a few friends who are lesbians, and a couple of them are like that typical like every woman wants me, or I can take every woman from any guy. And they're like they'll go after women. They'll actively go after women who are with their husbands in public and try like follow them till like the wife's alone, and then like try and start dropping seeds and doubt. It's like, dude, you can't do that.
Yep, I've seen it.
Well, then,
I have seen it.
I had to, and this is also a testimony to the power of prayer and how God answers prayers. But like, I had this one guy that I used to do DoorDash for pretty much full time, and I ran into him at the store, and of course I was wearing this sweater that we talked about earlier with Jesus and One Nation Under God. And he started talking to me, and he was talking about how he was he was in Christian ministry too, but he had a band, a Christian band. And he told me about this tent revival that was going on, like the town over that's more into the country. And so like I took my kid and we went to it. Well, then pretty soon, like I started noticing like he was showing up at the gas station every single day, but he's married.
Oh.
And sometimes he wasn't like even parked to get gas when I'd show up. Or like to go into a convenience store. He was waiting for me. And then, so like this was going on for a while, and like I didn't really think anything of it at the time. Like, but then one day he like asked me, he's like, oh, I don't get a hug. And I was like, whatever, I'll give you a hug, brother in Christ. But he went and tried to put his hand on my behind, and I looked at him and I said, no. And I'm like, you need to behave. And he's like, I always behave, but we could get into a lot of trouble together as long as you don't tell anybody. Are you willing to do that? And I looked at him and I said, no, absolutely not. I'm not. And he's like, why not? And I'm like, looked at his ring and I said, right there, that's why. And he said, well, nobody has to know. And I said, you're supposed to be a Christian. And I'm a Christian woman. I said, I'm not doing this. I'm like, I'm not going to be the one to ruin somebody else's marriage. And no, like, and you need to go home. You need to repent, and you need to go home to your wife, and you need to be a good husband to your wife. And I left. And after that, I prayed and I told God, I said, don't let me see him ever again. Not because I didn't have the strength to not cross the line, but because I didn't want to be a temptation and a stumbling block for him to even have those impure thoughts about me.
Right.
And you know what? I've never seen him since I prayed that, since that day. Like, and I go to that gas station almost every day still.
Yeah.
Like, I don't DoorDash anymore, but yeah.
Cass, I feel you. You should see some of the, especially now doing the podcasting shit and what slides into my DMs. It's quite interesting, let me tell you.
I at least haven't had that issue.
I slide into my own DMs.
What up?
I think I had somebody who tried, but it was on my personal side, not my business side today.
Yeah.
But he had started following me today, and it was weird though because he had found me through one of my business posts for my coaching, and he slid into my DMs. And so I don't know if maybe like he had watched one of my shows or something first and like figured out from like that or what, or how he ended up coming. But like he slides in there and he's like, at first he's just like, hey, hi. And I was like, hi. And then he's like, happy Easter. And so then I like, but like I ended up like cutting it off before it even could start because I was just like, I don't celebrate Easter. It's pagan. And here you go. Here's a bunch of scripture that shows it. And so I like just explained it all to him. And then he just comes back with, wow, you're really smart. And that's very enlightening. Thank you. And I was like, you're welcome. And so then he's just like, like it couldn't go anywhere. Like he couldn't even try to hit on me if he wanted to.
Yeah. Teabag, the answer to your question is way too many. Way too many.
But I also haven't dated in like, now I've been single from my last relationship. I haven't dated anybody or attempted to try since like for going on 11 years now. And so I wouldn't even know what to do if somebody tried. Like, I'd just be like, hey, let's talk about Jesus.
That's what I like when you guys start talking to like Arthur and Nate and stuff, and I'm like, I wouldn't even know what to do if I got dropped back into the dating pool. Like it's a cesspool out there.
It's regional. I keep saying this to Theo. Come to the South, you'll see it's a whole different ball game than what you're running into.
But Boston, I'm in the South, and I had an easier time trying to date over in Oregon than I do here.
Hold on.
But the guys are more mannerism. I give that.
I don't consider, well, maybe South Carolina because you're below Georgia. You're below like the Georgia's line, but like I don't consider like that area the South. But you're also like the East Coast South. So yeah, you're getting like think of it like the cesspool in the Northeast is just running off down the coast.
Oh, it's so disgusting up here in Boston.
So if you go to the South, specifically like a quiet state, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, you'll notice the dating pool is a lot cleaner. It's more clear water.
Yeah, don't come to Boston.
Oh, I would never go to any blue state at all. Like I lived in them enough. Like I'm so not a blue state person.
Both my first wives, my first and second wife, they were like 3 years and then 6 years, and both of them like I went when they ended, I was back in the day. I was back into the dating game. It was like I picked it up like that. Like I can adapt though. Like it might take me a day or two to adapt, but I can adapt to what's the culture, I guess.
Like I had a guy too, like one time, and we have like right outside my apartment, like when you go out to the main road, we have a car wash there, and like I had walked up to the store, to the gas station, and I was on my way back, and he was there washing his car still, And he starts like talking to me, but he's like, hey, you look familiar. Is your name Laura? And I was like, no, but it's weird you asked me that because I've got a cousin named Laura that lives down the road that I've never met. So, I mean, she might look like me. Like, we might look similar. Like, but then he started like trying to ask me like if I would mind giving him my phone number so that we could talk and he possibly decide to go out or something on a date. And I was just like, I'm taken. Bye. Freezes me out. I gotta go. I already have a boyfriend. Sorry. Run away. And like, I worked at Walmart as a team lead at one of the big Walmarts here.
Oh, you guys are doing that. I'm going to take the puppy out real quick.
That had followed me around the store for a while, and he was like my age, and he's like trying to talk to me, and then he like asked me out, and I just like run with my cart because I did the online grocery order stuff. And I just run with my cart screaming, and one of my coworkers is like looking at me because I just like took off screaming, I'm married to Jesus. Because it's like so rare that I just don't know how to respond when somebody's trying to pick up on me. I'm just like, so one of my staff, they're like, are you okay? What was wrong with you? What happened? I'm like, that guy followed me for like three aisles trying to talk to me, and I think he was trying to flirt with me, so I ran away from him. Told him I'm married to Jesus. She started dying. She said, I'm so using that now when I want to get away from a guy who won't leave me alone, that I'm not interested in. And I'm like, he was interested in me. She's like, I think he was trying to ask you on a date because he thought you were cute. And I was like, I don't know, it was scary.
I'm gonna have to use that whenever, like, because like I get hit, like I said, I was joking, but I'm serious. I get hit on by guys a lot. I have to try and use that one. Like, I'm sorry, I'm married to Jesus. But because like if I tell them I'm married and show them a ring, they don't care. They're like, right. I'll change that. And like, no, you fucking won't, dude. Right. I'm gonna have to try and use that one though.
Married to Jesus. Just run away. The guy's just like sitting there, like standing there, like, what was that?
And the fact that you screamed that in the middle of the store,
right?
You probably like, shit, people think I'm trying to like rape this woman or something,
right?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Jerry in my car. I run back in, and I'm just like, okay, you guys are gonna have to put it together because I'm not going out there on the floor anymore and helping you guys. I'm the boss. I'm staying back here.
I've never had to use one like something like that before. I have had some very persistent people, but I never had to like use something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy. and here I am, I say, if God wants me to have somebody, he'll drop them on my head, but I'm running away even if he tries. So I catch 22.
Yeah. T-Bag gets it. They don't give up. Gay dudes don't give up.
Yeah, some of them.
Like, no. They will freaking hound you.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
I know you want to go nights. The dog's like, Mom, we had people here today.
They're over it.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's like, she was so this pup was my aunt's dog. So they rescued her from the MSPCA. She was only like 3 pounds when they got her. They found her in a hamster's cage. And then they went to her house where it's just her and her husband. Her kids were all gone and grown. You know what I mean? Yeah. So and I would literally pick up like a water bottle and she would like hide under my nightstand and I couldn't get her to come out. Or she would like pee and poop. Like she has come so far. Like now she plays with toys. I used to have to hand feed her one by one to get her to eat. Like super, super, like, I'm like, I have anxiety and you have anxiety. I thought you were supposed to help me with my anxiety. But she did in a way because it made me in turn have patience with her anxiety. You know what I mean? To see what triggers. So when we have a lot of people, she's okay, but when somebody steps, you can see it. She's like high alert. It's like, oh, they just moved. Oh, that person just sneezed. And
how does she do if
she's
someone
like,
yells?
Mom, the door is shut. She hides. So like sometimes that's why, like, if you see me go like this, sometimes it's because either my son is like yelling at his video games or the girls are fighting, and she'll come down here and hop right in between my legs and like try to crawl inside me.
Aww.
I'm like, oh, you poor girl. Like, yeah, even if like I said, if I'm like on my phone and I'm like, oh fuck, like I forgot to do something, you know what I mean? She'll be like, oh no.
What do I do?
But thankfully she doesn't have accidents or and what she'll do if I do that now is she'll come over to me and like nudge my hand or like sit on my chest like, oh, calm down. I'm like, okay, I get it.
My grandparents were really big on, I forgot my mic's not up. Were really big on Yorkies. Later on in their life, like when I was a kid, they were like had a thing for Chihuahuas and pugs. But my dad has the dog now. He's super old now, but like this dog, like just naturally with no training, like was able to alert us when like things were wrong with my grandfather, and for us to be able to get a medical treatment and stuff. And then he did the same thing for my grandma. So like my grandma was like paralyzed from a stroke that she had, and so she could only pivot transfer herself back and forth, and she had like fallen and couldn't get up to get back onto her bed or into her chair. And my oldest daughter was living with her at the time, and he ran in and woke my daughter up to alert her to call me, who lived around the corner with my mom, to come over to get my grandma up and stuff.
That's
and that
crazy.
was a pretty awesome dog. I love him. It makes me feel bad that he's like so old and now he's like blind and losing all his teeth and feel like he's suffering. Like,
yeah. Poor thing.
Oh, Teabag, thanks for was that who did that? My mic is being stupid. Oh, Trapper commented on my video. Yeah, if you guys either before you leave or after you leave, if you could just put a random comment in there, that helps push everything out. But we have been going for 3 hours and 38 minutes. I do have to bring my little one to the doctor's at some point tomorrow, so
I gotta get
it
off
might
here
be time to kind of wrap things up. Yeah, DM me pictures. I love puppy pictures.
You heard that, guys. DM her
Coach
pictures.
Joyce.
She asked for it. She asked for pictures, guys.
Yeah.
Ours are clipped out.
Oh! Thank
She
you.
wants feet pictures only, though.
No. Maybe. And I could use them as my own. All right. So we got to that point. I want to thank everybody for being here today. All you friends in the chat. I've seen, people come in, people come out. We got definitely some lurkers out there that are listening. Maybe they're cleaning up after their Easter dinner, or maybe they're still at their Easter dinner and they're like, I am bored and I'm plugging you into my ears and you're just listening to what we're saying. But either way, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a wonderful day with friends and family. Cass, thank you for commenting on there. I can see it. And it's going to be that time where we're going to go around the room and reintroduce ourselves, and don't clip that, plug ourselves. So, Miss Coach Joyce, go ahead, start us off.
So you can find me
Where can they find you, girl?
You can find me on Twitter or X now, at Coach Joyce Staff. You can find me on Instagram, Coach Joyce, Facebook, Coach Joyce. And you can find me on YouTube as well as here as well. Align and Shine Bible. Align and Shine is what it is over on YouTube. But Rumble is my main platform for my live podcasts. And then I just download and put it over to Facebook. So I'd prefer you to find me here so that you can interact in the chat. And then, of course, also over on X, so that if you need to feel like you want to DM me or hit me up for, excuse me, anything, questions, or, like I said earlier, you have a testimony you want to share, whatever, you can hit me up on my DMs, and also you can get encouraging messages and stuff there as well, to help uplift you and make you feel more confident and blessed and encouraged on who you are. I have a fantastic one I wrote today, on you being created for a purpose. So go check that out, and I hope you enjoyed it, and it was great being here.
Thanks, Joyce. I appreciate you hopping on. I just have to huge erection. Bro, I miss you. Where have you been? I haven't seen you the last few nights. That I'll send a pic of Richie Rich with the caption, "My dick's rich, bitch." Oh, you're funny. All right, Darnell. If you want, you can even share your screen to show the boys and girls too. I should have said that to you, Joyce. I just realized that.
Yeah, I have my ass up, but not the
that's
other.
fine. I will do that. Let me move this real quick. I gotta move some stuff around real quick because I was not prepared. And there we go. So yeah,
just put you on the
you can
spot
find
right
me
now.
at X. Well, no, I wasn't. Yeah, shut up. You can find me at X, Darnell Quigley, no E before the Y. I made an account with the E and fucked that up, and so I made a new one. You can find me on at Darnell Quigley on Rumble right now. Yes, you can find me on Rumble for my my AI created picture music from my band Darnell Dandy. Also, some other fake band names we came up with for like certain songs. Let me show the channel as soon as I can get it up.
I would throw it up on my screen, but we all know how my computer will react to that. I would freeze.
I know.
You've got to get it up for the plug.
Yeah, I can't get it up for the plug. Yeah.
Can't get it for the plug.
Can't get it up for the plug. There. Yeah, there we go. All right, I'm going to share that. So you can find multiple shows this week. Pop Culture Beatdown with Sean and Mikey. Probably Nerds Covering the News with Drunken Emerald Arrow. These are all on Rumble. I'll be here probably Thursday and Friday night with these guys, with Sean and Gina for the random shows, and then Friday night again on Rumble. Insert title here with Drunken Emerald Arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, also, if you are interested in music for any of your shows or chat, this is to chat or anyone's watching. You're interested in any music created for your shows. I do music for shows. I don't charge for it. I have a blast doing it. I can create music with lyrics, no lyrics, whatever you want. I just have fun doing it. So if you want some, come follow me on X. I'll follow you back, and we can message, and I'll get you stuff. I'll get you set up.
Awesome. I might take you up on that myself.
Cool.
Yeah, we just have you. We should. Oh, you know what we could do, Darnell? You could record something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hear me out. What Gina needs is like a video, right? With some of your music that I can play if I need to for like on the shows that I do just me, and I might need like a potty break or a kid moment or a dog moment.
Okay.
Where I can just say, hey, like a be right back kind of sign, you know what I mean? Like be right back doing mom things, and then like one of your songs and and your channel and your plug, and I can play it.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
Like a little
that's
commercial.
all. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
To do. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think we all should do. You know what I mean? Everyone should record like a little thing. Like,
I like that.
and halfway through, we can be like, hey, from our next word of mouth, and then click it. And it can be like, hi, I'm Gina from Mom's Mystery and Mayhem. Check me out every Sunday at 9 p.m. on Rumble and YouTube. Hope to see you there. And then like just go back. You know what I mean? That would be funny.
Right?
Great idea.
With and then like every single time it could be like somebody else's show. Like
yeah, you know what I mean? Like Sean will have a plug, Darnell, we can get Arrow in there, the Iron,
like
you know what I mean?
Time, yeah, like one time on my show it'd be plugging yours, and then another time Darnell's, and another time Sean's, and then Chris's.
And then Cass, Chris, you could have Darth, you could have Cool Frog, like we can have all sorts of little intros. That would be a lot of fun. All right. So here we are, 3 hours, 45 minutes. It's almost 1 a.m. here, so I'm exhausted.
Almost same here.
Yeah, so again, I want to thank you guys all for being here. You know, I love you all. I'm sure you all have liked, subscribed, hit that notification bell, follow Mom's Mystery and Mayhem on YouTube and Rumble. You can catch me on Twitter over here at SHRTY7081. Yes, no O, because I never made 5 feet, so I'm just shouting. You know what I'm saying? So we are going to raid into Darth Jason. So Cass is one of the best mods out there in the universe. Cass girl, you rock. I appreciate all your help. Teabag, huge erection. Darnell, Joyce, Kravitz, Trapper, Fog was in here for a little while. Mr. Scott, everyone else that popped in, or if you're listening, hey, how are you? We love you. We appreciate you. So go ahead, Cass ass. Go ahead and drop that link. A non-gay mod. Yeah, Cass is not gay. Just a great mod.
Guys, good night. God bless.
Great idea, but bringing your audience here and drop there too. Yeah, you know. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, again, guys, if you're hanging around, I just want to say thank you again for everything. I appreciate you. You can go ahead and find me on Sean's show at Third Railify on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, generally 10 p.m. to whenever we decide that we, I guess, have had enough, or, you know, our body says, hey, I know we want to keep going, but we have children and, you know, the life of parents. So we have to end it early. So, and then I do have an open invite on insert title here on Friday nights at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also on Saturdays, I have an open invite on Touch Grass with Theo Snodgrass. Make sure you go and follow him as well, so you can find me there on Saturdays sometimes too. And then depending on Mr. Mayhem's schedule, sometimes I tag team into Sean's show to co-host for Chris. So you can find me in all those wonderful places. I think I have like 1 night off, maybe 2 if I'm lucky. So there's that. So again, thanks everybody. Have a great evening.
Stop the boat! We're there.
Where?
Here. A small step for mankind, but a giant step for us.